Thank you. Welcome, everybody, to the Select Board meeting for the town of Medfield for whatever it is, June 16, 2026. We're going to have a executive session at the conclusion of the regular meeting. We remind everybody that the meeting is being video recorded. We're starting by taking a moment of appreciation to our troops who are serving around the globe in defense of our country, no longer at war, apparently, hopefully. Thank you. Our first item is Avenue to request a change of their liquor license to allow for beverage service on their outdoor patio.
Yes, you can actually come up here to the,
Welcome.
yes.
Are you Josh?
No, I'm Justin.
Justin. Why did Justin cross the street from Avenue?
No, we have a Josh. He's the owner. My name's Justin. I'm the Justin Hunter, general manager. So, yeah, we're looking to amend our liquor license to add 34 seats, which would be 6 regular tables and then 2 tables for waiting space. And we wanted to amend that to our current liquor license.
So they made this process a lot easier after COVID, where now we don't have to do a butters notices and all of that. We just amend the liquor license through the form that you saw in the packet, and we send it in, and that's it. So it's a great, they knew that this was something that a lot of restaurants were doing, so we're trying to make the process a little bit more streamlined and easier.
Mr. Murphy.
So the only question, which is probably just illustrating my
Sure.
ignorance of what we've been doing in the past, but Avenue's always had outdoor dining, right? In
Yes.
the summer.
Yeah.
And I always assumed that you were serving liquor there. Are you saying we never did serve liquor outdoors, or?
So
is
I
this just
believe
capacity?
this was from COVID,
Yeah,
and we had been serving outside since COVID.
yeah.
Going forward, it's not on the official liquor license. We have the restaurant itself covered.
Okay.
We don't have the patio
Okay.
under the liquor license at the moment, so we just needed to amend that.
Yes.
So my practical question is that when we approve the victualers licenses, Avenue's there, and we approve it, what I'm trying to figure out is, so we didn't apparently approve outdoor alcohol when we approved your license a couple months ago. Is that, am I understanding correctly?
Yes. Yes, the original restaurant liquor license just covers the actual physical inside space of the restaurant.
Okay. So this is really, the reason you're doing this then is because your original liquor license didn't address that. You want to modify your liquor license. So next year when we do the same thing with the common victualers, we won't have to be worried about splitting hairs.
Well, yeah, the liquor license will be all covered, it'll be
I'm trying to
amended.
make this a lot
Yes,
easier
it
for
is.
us. It'll be
Yes.
easier
Yeah.
for us too.
Yeah.
Yes, the liquor license will be amended once we submit this, and so every year in approval, it'll be the same thing, the indoor and outdoor space.
Got it. Okay. That's all. The only question I have.
Arlene?
I do. So I do have a quick question. I noticed in the liquor license it showed you technically could serve until midnight, but I know now you close the bar around what, 10 or?
10 o'clock is usually the latest we have anyone there.
Okay.
9:30, like maybe 11 o'clock on the weekends. But typically by 10 o'clock, 10:30, like everyone's out of the building.
Okay.
It's not a late night crowd.
I just want to make sure, knowing that you have residents right there,
Yes.
right, that you are respectful, that if you even keep the bar open, great, but not have people sitting at the table of 6 right underneath the window of a resident.
So I actually, our reservations, I put the last reservation for outside seating that people can make at 8 o'clock as
Okay.
opposed to like 9 o'clock or later,
Cool.
just so we don't have people outside causing any noise or anything.
Okay.
Mark?
Hi, I'm Mark Searle, the town attorney. My understanding was that your special permit had a limitation on seating that had to be amended as well?
We're doing that next, yeah.
Okay, all right.
As long as you're observing that you have residents that are there,
How's it
Yes.
being
and
done?
respectful of their time, that I'm totally.
Oh, most
fine.
definitely.
Or are you just gonna slide
I
it
have no
to?
questions. I was idly wondering whether anybody in Medfield would ask to serve up until 3 a.m. for
World Cup.
World Cup games, but I'm
No,
happy
no,
to hear that
we're-
you're not.
I'll take a hard pass on that.
As we've heard, people in Medfield clear out of the bars by 10 o'clock reliably
Yeah.
every night, except maybe on a
So
Friday night.
start a new trend here.
Where they'll go to 11.
Sure.
If I was a lot younger, that would be such a sad commentary on
One
this.
of my favorite restaurants was the Pillar House in Newton,
Oh.
which opted to not serve on weekends because it interfered with their quality of life.
That's a different tact, but I can understand.
Well, it's not there
I
anymore.
guess they were successful enough that they could do it, so.
They moved it
Um,
to just as a private residence now somewhere.
Any questions from our audience? No? Do we have a motion then?
Yes, so moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, aye. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to the street. Uh,
Back to work.
Our second item is Trinity Financial to give the town an update on the Medfield State Hospital redevelopment project. Thank you for coming. All the big guns.
Thanks for having us.
How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. I looked up, I saw Jim, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute, there's Abby. Excellent. Hi.
The traffic wasn't bad getting here, so I think,
The white pillars didn't cause chaos?
no.
Getting used to it.
Yeah, I'm just getting used to it. Well, thank you. We are here tonight after, it's been a while, and we're happy to be here. We have a little bit of an update, and so wanted to walk you through that, and then also just kind of want to update you on some other things that are happening. So first of all, if you could go to the next slide, that would be great. What we'd like to do is walk you through where we are today, what we've accomplished, give you an update, and talk about the critical path to closing, and talk about our continued partnership. Next slide, please. Sorry. So we're here again to let you know that we are still seeking additional costs for the infrastructure and hazmat remediation that we've been talking about over the years. And these are critical for us to be securing the private equity and debt that we need for the project to move forward. Over the past, next slide. Yep, that's great. Thank you. Over the past year, we've made a lot of project progress. We have received all of our major state and local permits. The MIPA permit, the site plan and subdivision approval, you guys know these, you approved these. We've completed 70% construction documents. We've also received our Part 1 and Part 2 approvals from the National Park Service. What you have been a part of is every year we apply for these state historic tax credits. We've received a number of those, bringing us closer to the number that we've pro forma'd. We've engaged this year with NEI Construction, and they have done their due diligence, been out on the site, looked through our construction documents to give us their estimate on a construction price, which will hold through next year. So we feel really good about locking in the number and what it will take to get these buildings rehabilitated. We've also executed a contract with JLL. We've worked with them on almost all of our market rate developments to attract an equity and debt partner. And so that has been something that we feel pretty good about our numbers and where we are in order to attract those partners. We've also engaged with Greystar Property Management to give us a really good sense as to what it is going to cost to operate the property. And that means even going out for preliminary bids on landscaping. Those are critical essential pieces of information that we're going to need to provide to potential investors in order to get them to put $35 million in private equity into this project. We've also been getting creative based on feedback from the state and created this phased approach to the project infrastructure, which you've also supported. and we can update you on that, as well as a structure to reduce the costs in the market rate component of the development. So we'll go through those details. Next slide, please.
Sorry, there's actually a delay.
Okay. So as I know the select board has seen through our applications to the state, we have created a phased approach to the funding of the infrastructure. Phase 1, which you all are now experiencing probably on a daily basis, is under construction, which is very exciting. Phase 2 is really going to enable Belforge to have the infrastructure they need to be operational. And that was a critical component of this last MassWorks application. Senator Roush and Representative Tarski were extremely influential in getting that funding. Your support obviously was extremely important for the state to see how important it is for Medfield to have Belforge up and running. So that is funded. The town has reviewed those construction documents. We're making some tweaks based on a call last week. And then the plan is to go out to bid on those by the end of the summer, early fall, and get under construction as soon as possible thereafter. So we feel like we've worked through the kinks with the town on the process, going out to bid. Dan Moore from our team is managing that. It's running very smoothly with the contractor, and we're excited about that. So next slide, please. We'll get to phase 3 and 4 later.
Sorry, there's
It's okay.
a huge delay.
It's
There
okay.
you go.
So, as we talked about, phase 1, the hospital road sewer, and this is some pictures for those of you who are tuning in online who haven't been to the hospital recently, of the sewer connection that went under the green. So that work is done. The next slide shows work at, I believe, Hospital and Harding, which is, oh, no, this is the Hospital Road sewer completion work. So that is done as well. And then Hospital and Harding is the start of the intersection work, which has been going smoothly. And the goal for all of the intersection work is to wrap all of that up by the end of August. So that is the phase 1 work. Phase 2, again, should be starting in the winter, spring, and that has been funded, the $5.5 million. Phase 3, we just completed the application for the 3rd phase of work, which will be the on-site work enabling 162 units to be able to have infrastructure to them and the public parking lot. That construction would also start in early 2027. We'd like to have it roll right in from phase 2 and 3. And then phase 4 would be the last Housing Works application that we would apply for, and that would roll into a closing at the end of next year. So our goal is to seek this $5.5 million for the infrastructure this year, and then $16 million for the infrastructure next year. So next slide. Now we get to the housing, which is more fun. So I'm going to try to read it without my glasses. So we have reorganized the financing structure for the project to lower the project gap. And basically working with JLL, we are focusing now on how to manage the uncertainty that is out there in the world. And how this impacts us is as follows. For us to get an investor to invest in this project, $35 million, they are seeking a return on their investment. Typically in real estate, investors seek a return that's around 150 to 200 basis points over the 10-year treasury. So when we started this project, the 10-year treasury was around 1.4%. That made our returns we were seeking in the low 4% range. Today, 10-year treasury today specifically is around 4.4%. So investors are seeking a return of 6.25%. Return on cost. And the metric, and the way they figure this out is they take the revenue that the project will earn, expected revenue, minus the expenses, and divide it by the total development costs. And from that total development cost, we pull out all the extra historic tax credit equity and soft debt that we seek and grants to get to that metric. In order to hit that return, we need an additional $34 million on top of the $16 million in subsidy. So this is a big number, $50 million. I think this is a number we've been talking about for a number of years, and it's still the number because construction costs keep rising, interest rates are not going down, and unfortunately rents, given where we are today and given the looming potential for rent control, are kind of holding steady. So whereas typically over the past 5 years, when we are doing our projections for a project, we'd be able to inflate rents, our advisors are telling us you can't inflate rents. So we're kind of at this point where we're managing a lot of uncertainty, which is something we're used to doing, except on this project, it's all coming at once. And that's a challenge. It makes this, I think I've said, this is the most challenging project we've undertaken in our history. And, those are the risks we're managing and the conditions we're facing. So what does that mean for you? If you go to the next slide. We are still at it. We have significant funds invested in this project, and every 4 months we apply for additional state historic tax credits. And what this does is bring us closer to narrowing that, bring us closer to achieving the numbers that we put in our pro forma. We started at this, and our first year we got $2.7 million in awards, and we're chasing around $45 million. We're at $32 million right now. So time goes on, and hopefully, knock on wood, we still get allocated these awards. And that's, we're doing what we have to do to keep working on this. We're also working and getting our legislators informed, getting the state informed about the gap. It was unfortunate when Secretary Augustus moved on, but we feel confident we're going to be meeting with his successor, Secretary Matias, and just explaining kind of where the hospital is, in the big picture of housing production, how important it is to the state, to the National Park Service as well. And we feel pretty confident that they will continue to support the project. Does that mean that, we don't have restless nights? No, we are thinking about this all the time. We are, even this morning, realized, if we added a pool, would that be a way to increase our rents? And making sure that if we make changes like that, is there a benefit to the project, and will we be able to, on our own, to lower the gap? So even though there's not a lot happening in terms of what you see happening on site, every day we are thinking, how can we move this forward? So next slide, please. So why we're here tonight is that I think the last time I was here, we were talking about needing timely decision making from the town, and you guys stepped up and you were on top of it, and the work has gone great. The process has gone well. We've kept comments on drawings contained to meetings, and people have been decisive, and that's been excellent. So we appreciate that, and would like to continue that responsiveness that you guys have shown us. Our LDA expires in September. We're not going to be ready in September, but we're going to be working at this in September. So we are asking for an extension of the LDA to December of next year. We think this is sufficient time to understand where the state is, to confirm the state's going to get behind the project still. And hopefully by that time, maybe wars stop, interest rates come down, construction costs don't continue to rise, and there'll be some ability for us to tweak those rents and get our net operating income higher. We will continue the monthly updates to the community in the newsletter. We have bi-monthly calls with Christine and Brittany and the planning department, which is, those are excellent, and we feel really good about the working relationship. So we're happy about that. Next slide. So this is a little bit of inspiration, because every once in a while we need inspiration. I think my kids are really into Latin, which is shocking. I have no idea why, but it's very hard language. But the other day they were showing me something, and it was from the city of Paris, which is my most favorite place in the whole world. And it was the coat of arms that was from, I think, the year 1350, and it was from these like sailors on the Seine who were being attacked, and they brought back this Latin quote, which is "Fluctuat nec mergitur," and I've been like thinking about that, and it sounds much better in French, but it means she is rocked by the waves, but she does not sink. And for me, this is just absolutely beautiful. And to me, it represents this project and everything the town has worked on. You guys have gone through a lot. We are just the latest in the people to have helped you. But this project really shows the resilience of the town, you know, all the adversity you've faced. And, you know, we hear of things, people breaking into buildings, and these buildings still are standing, and they're beautiful. And if anyone is going to bring them back to life, it is us. We are fully behind this project. So I'm going to go to the next slide, which, I mean, I see you have a coat of arms that you're probably not going to change to to the French statement.
You've
But
got me planning to look up the
I know
City of
it's.
Venice's coat of arms.
Oh yes, true. So I guess this statement came back after there was like a terrorist attack, and if you Google it, you'll see all these beautiful buildings from like the late 1800s with this statement on it. But that gives us inspiration, and so we'd like to leave you with that. And then, so also, one final thing is, on a personal note, I wanted to let you know that I'm actually leaving Trinity. And it's kind of doesn't seem real that I say that, because I've been there for 22 years. I am a person who I can eat the same lunch every day for like a decade. I've been going to work the same place, same people, a lot of the same people for 22 years, and I've loved it. And it's projects like this that are, I think I told someone, it's like a real estate telenovela. They are like crazy and get you really excited and upset, and they're dramatic, and they mean a lot to me, and that has kept me there for 22 years. But an opportunity has come up for personal growth and like a new chapter that I have decided to seize. And so it's a really hard moment in time. But as Jim always says to me, and I'm going to say it back, don't screw it up, because he always puts confidence in us. But I have to tell you, at the end of the day, the one who's up all night and is like the president of our company is looking at individual cells on an Excel spreadsheet and questioning me about it is Jim. And he's had this project in his heart since he first stepped on site. And we have a great team with him. His son, James, is going to be kind of the liaison. And you guys are in great hands. I'll miss you, but I will be at the groundbreaking.
Okay.
And yeah, so.
a round of applause.
Thank you, thank you. So, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, you have to come up here.
Thank you. We are going to miss Abby. She's been with us for 22 years. I guarantee you, 22 years ago, she could not have given the presentation she just gave. What you just experienced was a very detailed, kind of behind the curtain. This is where we are. This is where we're trying to get to. We're going to miss her. She didn't leave anything, as you know, going out there with the dogs and getting, I don't know, 798 people at town meeting to vote for it. We couldn't ask anything more, but her leaving is very amicable. It's bittersweet, but we're very much expecting her to continue to do great things. Hopefully not too great things, because she's going to go to work for a competitor. Why do I still believe in this project, and why I hope you still believe in this project? I think it was a setback, as Abby mentioned, that Secretary Augustus decided to leave. I think it was in this room, Christine, was it not, where he spoke to some of you. I think, Gus, you were there, and he basically committed that we're going to get this done. And, you know, when we first got involved with this, 2020, there was $1.4 billion in ARRA money floating around that had not been allocated. And I heard that, I said, well, we only need $50 million of it. That's nothing. And we've been very clear, even in our original proposals to you folks, this is going to require deep subsidy. Why is it going to require deep subsidy? Well, we have a challenging infrastructure situation, as you know. We have to activate the site with all of the utilities. But what really makes this expensive is the fact that the detailed historic restoration of these buildings, you just can't go in there and wipe them out and do whatever you want in terms of structurally, in terms of layouts, things that might be more efficient. You really have to respect the original historic integrity of the buildings. The slate, the brick, all the other elements that went into these buildings so lovingly back in the 1890s, it's our responsibility to restore. So for that reason, this is an expensive project. I think we've got the right contractor, we've got the right team to take this on, but the fact of the matter is we've got a financial challenge that we have to overcome. Happens all the time. It's the story of our life. Why do I think we're going to succeed? I think, first of all, the Healy Driscoll administration has been following this and has been encouraging, and I believe when the moment comes, when whatever that number is, they're going to support us. We've had some excellent legislative help, as Abby pointed out, and we're hoping to actually have a little bit more help. Can't really talk about that because it's still in the works, and we'll see how that turns out. Frankly, what's keeping me going, and I know it's keeping you all going, I continue to see this place when it's done, and it's going to be spectacular. We knew from the beginning this was going to be tough. It was going to be a rescue mission. And what motivated me back in 2017, the first time I walked down onto that site, and it motivates me today, is that moment in the future when we walk onto that site and to see this place beautifully restored. A lot of headaches, a lot of sleepless nights between now and then, but I still am committed, Trinity is still committed to make this happen. And very much appreciate your continued support. Thank you.
Thank you both for coming, and Abby, especially thank you to you for guiding us this far, and we wish you all the best in your new endeavors. We're sad to see you go, but we know that somebody will be very benefited by having you. So, Gus, questions?
I'll start by echoing Pete's comments. I've appreciated what I've seen from you in all the years, and I don't see all the time. Probably I don't see on the really bad days, but when I look at the kind of work you guys take on, I'm not smart enough to even speculate on the kind of complexity, risk, at all of that, that you both, but you in particular here, have calmly handled, at least in all the interactions that I've had with you. And I would just express my appreciation for that and admiration for it, because you know some things. You both know how to do some things. I don't have a clue. Todd might understand, but I don't have a clue. It's just watching it go there. Jim, to your point about digging in on something like this, the closest I can come, whenever I've driven down the Merritt Parkway and I go under the underpasses and I see every single one of those underpasses has been designed in a unique way, and I reflect on the fact that that was a government Civilian Conservation Corps project. I know the government is in fact capable of creativity, of putting some emphasis into aesthetics, and that has long-term benefit. This, to me, is a project that's like that, and when I hear or feel the government, like almost happened last year with MassWorks, going, no, that's too expensive, it drives me nuts, because if we can get this thing done, that will be the kind of a project that people will look at and go, gosh, I can't even believe, leave aside what you guys do, the fact that government could keep itself organized and focused long enough to produce this kind of thing out of what we had to start to work with, which has long-standing tradition, connection with the town for the previous purpose, reinventing it for purposes for this town that reflect both the aesthetic and the technical expertise. If we could do that, I would echo your points. This is a big deal if we can do that. So I'm on board with that, and I actually appreciate your comments, because the biggest issue on my mind is we're sitting at a poker table with two partners. You're one and the state's the other, and it's like, I don't know, the pot gets a little bigger. The time goes on before the casino's going to close, and I'm sitting there saying, it's a three-legged stool. That three legs has to remain in place. And I hope that the state does, in fact, understand that it needs all three of those legs. Let me stop. Can I ask you two questions that go back to the specifics of what you had to say? When you mentioned this year trying to get the $5.5 million infrastructure funding, and then said next year 16.4. In my head, I'm only compartmentalizing my thinking here. In my head, I had kind of adjusted to say the state won't give us that more than $5 million a year. So this is a $5 million infrastructure, if we're lucky. $5 million a year infrastructure is kind of my simplified way of thinking about it. When you said 16.4 million another year out from here, I'm assuming that's not just MassWorks funding, but that you have an idea of how that's not just push the thing down, but you actually have a way of how you can see the state coming through on that.
Jim, you have to come up here.
Yeah.
If I told you, Gus, I'd have to kill you.
No, you don't have to tell me. You just have to nod and say, no, this is not just we're pretending something. You just have to say, no, we're optimistic, and we know what it looks like.
We have been working with certain key legislators to get an allocation specifically for Medfield. We have done a lot of groundwork to try to make that happen, but we're not going to know until it comes out of the legislature and the governor signs it. I suspect the governor will sign it. The question is, will it survive the legislative process? The Chapter 90, they set aside $200 million for infrastructure associated with affordable housing projects. $200 million, that's real money. Again, we're only asking for 16. It may take some time, but that has already been approved by the legislature, and it's just a matter, it's not clear whether HLC will play a role in that, but it's specifically set aside for housing and for affordable housing projects. So there's a piece of it. We continue, as Abby said, to work the margins. We're setting this up in a way that kind of makes it a no-brainer for we don't want to kind of get it to the 95-yard line and fail. We really want to make it absolutely clear we're over the line. Thus, we're not inflating rents. If we could inflate rents as we used to do, as little as 10 years ago or 5 years ago, inflating rents to get to the number you need, they won't let you do that. Getting to, 6.25, 6.50 today is something that is reality. But if interest rates go down, they're supposed to go down at some point, that makes it a little bit easier. Every little piece has a fairly significant impact on the final dollars that we're chasing. And push comes to shove, we're going to get it to a certain point, and hopefully the powers that be in the State House will step up and close the gap. Nothing would please us more.
That leads to my second question, so
Oh,
you
okay.
you can stay there. I'm not sure who should answer. In the equation you showed, Abby, of the projected revenue minus the projected project cost divided by the overall total
Development cost. Yeah.
net of tax credits. You're talking a lot about inflating rent, so you're working the revenue side of that equation, which makes sense. I'm only concerned about the part that if we potentially have any input to be able to help. So I'm looking for, I can't help you with your revenue and what you're gonna charge for rents. And I'm not sure I can help you with anything else,
Yeah.
but when you start talking about the low-income tax credits, that's the denominator side of that equation.
That-
Are there any opportunities to, what I'm thinking about is like
Actually,
last.
Gus, we're talking purely the market. We think the affordable piece is financeable. That's independent. And what we're able to do is take 25% of the cost out of the basis, but only 11% of the revenue because of those lower rents.
Yep.
So by separating those, we're taking a big chunk of the basis in the project and moving it over to the affordable side, which is pretty much
Yeah, I get it.
because we're getting so much in the way of historic credits, both state and federal. The amount that we're asking for the affordable housing is actually pretty modest for the number of units. So we're really chasing the market piece, and that's the one we're trying to tweak. But you've got the math right.
So my point was that if you start to do that, if you were to move things more into the affordable side, and my only real background
Yeah.
question is there anything I should be thinking about, we should be
Yeah.
thinking about,
Yeah.
being prepared to support you with to
Yeah.
do this? I'm saying what you just described there with my math mind, I'm saying you may be helping the revenue side, but I'm saying you're also lowering the denominator.
that's-
And if you lower the denominator, it's easier to get 6.25 with the delta between the two.
Right.
I know I can't help you with the
I
revenue
can't
on the
believe, Gus, how
numerator.
much you've learned in a half an hour.
It's-
You're an expert.
It's early in the meeting. But my point was, in a way, what I'm really saying is a year ago when we wanted to get the MassWorks funding, we made an adjustment in what the average
Yes. Yep.
affordability was, and I'm not sure if that actually changed the math, but at least it changed the political math to where
Yeah.
it did change the math. Okay,
It
that's,
very much.
so,
When we're talking about the denominator of the total development costs, we're
Right.
only talking about the development costs
Right.
of the market rate units. We've already separated.
okay. So then my ultimate question was, is there anything that we should be thinking about being prepared to do to support you in making the denominator smaller that maybe we haven't thought about because it didn't even
Well,
pop up until you
Very
showed me
much
the equation?
appreciate that, and we'll think about that. I think at some point, we're gonna have a meeting with the state lieutenant governor. We're having a fundraiser at our office in a couple of weeks. That'll be a convenient time to bring it up. And we'll see what falls out of that. But at this point, we don't have any suggestions, but don't want to rule that,
Thanks.
out.
That's all.
But thank you.
So I do want to take a moment and just thank you, Abby. You've been spectacular. And I think one of the things, Jim, that's made this work is it's not just about the select board, it's about the community. And when the community has asked for help, when the community has reached out and said, can we share ideas, can we bring, you've been extremely open. And I think that's where, I think when you meet with the governor, there are many towns in the state that are pushing back on, we don't want development in our town. We want it in our town.
Yeah.
We're welcoming it, as you said in the vote. I think only 2 people said no. And then layer on top of all the support you've given to Belforge is spectacular, because for Belforge, that's such an intricate part of our town. And Jean's sitting there, and her whole team has been busting their ass for as long as you guys have been busting their ass.
Yeah, longer.
And she's moving forward, and she's got the funding, which says to the state, the town wants that, and we want it on top
Yeah.
of having the housing. So hopefully all these layerings
Yes.
it means something to the state. And for the governor, say what you really want. You're saying you want housing, we'll make it happen.
Yeah.
And here's something ready they can put their money into and see it happen in a real timeline and not something
Yeah.
pushed out 20 years.
And I think it's important to note, we're preserving one of the most important historic assets in the state.
Sure.
The state had a number of these beautiful hospitals. The Northeast had these beautiful hospitals that were beautifully designed and thoughtfully programmed, and they're gone. They're going into obsolescence. What do they call it? Benign neglect. This is an opportunity to preserve one of those as evidence of where healthcare was back in the late 1890s and the thinking behind it. So as a historic asset, it's important to preserve that. As open space, it's important to preserve that. And you're getting this housing, and you're getting the art center. So again, I think it was just simply housing. It may be a difficult climb, but I think we have a lot going for us. I'm an optimist. You have to be, but with your help, we're going to get there.
Well, I just appreciate the phased effect, because if you stuck to, the original intention 3 years ago was, we're gonna bring in 3 development teams, we're gonna try to do it all at once, that would have had an impact on Belfort.
Yeah.
Now that this, slowly moving
Yeah.
it through, and then, just wanna clarify something you said, Abby. It's, phase 3 or 4 is 162 of the 334. So you could have that open and have people living there as or would you, no, okay,
It enables
okay.
162 units. So we'd still need to, we can't get it financed until the full, an investor knows that all of the infrastructure will be in place.
Okay, got it,
But
okay,
it will enable.
okay.
And to be sure, if it hasn't been clear, we are very much in support of CAM. They are dogged, they are determined, but it's an important aspect for us, too. We
Sure.
have this vibrant art center in the middle of our site.
Yeah.
Certainly helps, certainly helps. So we have been helpful, want to continue to be helpful. And we're really needing them to succeed, for us to succeed.
Well, I think you're, just by the intersections being worked on, I think you're starting to draw
Yeah,
attention.
that was a
When
big
people are
deal.
asking us, what's happening, it's like, well, this is a start. We got some of the money, and this is where the first, the infrastructure dollars is to be spent, and we're showing the state that we're supporting it. These are the 3 intersections that are
Yeah.
being addressed. They're being done as we speak, which is fantastic. So, thank you for
I
that.
mean, we are doing stuff.
Yes, absolutely.
We are doing stuff, for sure.
And so, again, Abby, I wish you the best of luck. It is sad, like when Amanda left, we were all like, hopefully she's off and doing great things, and I certainly wish you the very, very best, and it's been a pleasure to work with you.
I just got a text from Amanda as I was leaving the bagel store that she just got engaged.
Aw,
So
that's nice.
yeah, so her move was successful in more ways than one.
In many ways, I like
Yes,
that.
many ways. Pete?
So I had 3 points that I wanted to make. One was that I love Paris too, and be thankful that you're not doing redevelopment there, because every time they dig in front of Notre Dame, they find Roman ruins that they have
Yes.
to preserve and deal with. The second thing is I recently, my cousin decided to buy a over 55 unit at the former Westboro State Hospital development that Pulte has done. And Pulte, the Westboro State Hospital and the Medfield State Hospital were disposed by the state at the same time under the same system. And Westboro went in a very different direction. They just agreed to let Pulte do what Pulte wanted to do, I assume, and tear all the buildings down, which is what they wanted to do here in Medfield. And so Westboro is now occupying units, and we're still trying to get the rehab done because we wanted a more nuanced, a more historic preservation approach to it, and we also didn't want 700 units, and so so we've just gone a very different route from Westboro, and I was just interested by that because I actually was online looking at their units because my cousin was buying one, and they look nice, but I don't like the way Pulte buildings look, and I like very much the way your buildings look. I think it was when you started your presentation with that first rendering that you guys did, I thought that was such a smart thing to do, because every time I see that, it just reminds me, as you say, Jim, how nice this is going to look when it is done. And then the last thing I was going to say is, just as an attorney, I always find it, when someone is asking for a postponement, I always think, well, what are they going to give me? And we don't ask that of you guys, because we see you as our partners, and we want you to succeed, and so that we.
I think there will be some negotiating.
So there will be some things, but it's not going to be a hard-nosed sort of thing like a usual development. This is not a usual development for Medfield, or for you, it sounds like, so.
And Pete, you have one question online.
Can you promote them to, or should we read
We
it?
wrote it in the Q&A. Do you see it, or do you want me to read it?
Oh, I can't see it, I'm not seeing it.
Right here.
I've
Oh.
got it if you.
Yeah, why don't you go ahead and read it?
Okay.
You have it in front of you.
This is from Jeff Hyman, 1 Metacomet Street. As time goes by and the buildings continue to decay, what specific measures are being taken to ensure the structures are effectively maintained to prevent water intrusion and vandalism of buildings prior to the handoff to Trinity?
So in terms of vandalism, the police department has increased their patrols. Abby alluded to it earlier. We actually apprehended 8 college-age students who were accessing the buildings after hours. We repeatedly put out PSAs about, staying out of those buildings. It is not safe to be up there inside those buildings, any of them. So we spend a significant amount of time. You're going to see significant reserve fund transfers tonight to board those buildings up and keep the vandalism at a low. We don't have the ability to budget to maintain those buildings. And we made a promise at town meeting that we would limit the amount of funding the town would spend on those buildings. And on the campus in general after we agreed to the closure with the LDA. So maintaining those buildings would definitely put us over, and we just, had the override, so.
Can I add a statement to that? And Todd, you can overwrite or correct anything I say here, and I'm speaking actually speaking more as the select board rep to the development committee. And as I mentioned before, I'm not speaking for 3 of us on the select board, so this is just me talking. As I mentioned, this is like the poker game where we're sitting at a table, and I don't mind showing you a couple of cards here on this one. To Jeff's point, the reason the town, or I wouldn't be in favor of the town spending money to preserve the structure of those buildings is because if this project fails, those buildings aren't going to be preserved. Those buildings are coming down. If they come down on their own, perhaps the demolition crew will have less work to do if we're going down there. So that's point 1 to anyone who thinks we should be spending money in this town to try to somehow or another preserve those buildings for some posterity. Absolutely not. We're not putting money into it unless somebody has some rationale I cannot conceive of for doing that. The second part, the card that I'll flip over, is to the extent you care about the condition in those buildings because you're going to try to do something with them, I think the incentive there, leaving aside all of the legitimate financial issues you've got, but one of the pressures you face is we don't really want the buildings to go so far down the hill. So from my standpoint, I don't mind having you all be feeling a little bit of pressure to not let this be an unending issue.
Jim, can you use a microphone? Otherwise, the people at home can't hear you. We can hear you, maybe.
This actually happened.
Yeah, it doesn't magnify.
It's for people at home.
It's the audio feed for the TV.
But I am having trouble hearing you, so if you could speak up, please.
Speaking to the folks at home,
Turn the blowers off.
a real problem would be if the kids got in and set the place on fire.
That would not be good. Yeah.
Because if the building burns down or if it's significantly damaged, it will no longer qualify for historic tax credit. So I can't help but think, Abby, that Dan has been babysitting some of this relative to keeping the windows boarded up and doors boarded up.
Yes, I mean, we went in to do a deep exploration of the buildings with the construction team. They boarded up all the buildings after, but again, to secure, to have on-site security, to fence the entire property, to cut it off from the public, is not something we've been putting our resources where we think we can get to the finish line. And we could spend hundreds of $1,000s a year protecting the buildings, but we're spending the money we can to try and get the buildings under construction.
And Christine, to that point, the point you made about we don't have money to preserve the buildings, we do have the police who are patrolling the area, and we do recognize a safety responsibility so that if in fact boards are pulled apart so people can draw the little ghost signs to say this is the way you get into the building, we make sure that that's secure. That's a safety issue. We're not trying to preserve a building for posterity, but we recognize the responsibility to maintain, even if people themselves aren't smart enough to keep themselves out of trouble, to do our best to make sure they don't have the opportunity to get into trouble.
And when I see the broken windows, I report those to Christine, and she passes that along, so those hopefully get boarded up.
Well, and I know our police, I've talked to them, they have the drone that's heat censored, so it does help when they want to go up. If you have an extra one floating around, they could have another. I mean, that's a great way for them to be able to check the campus out at night without having to be on foot, because they can, they were telling me a story how a guy was hiding behind a rock and his buddy came out and he's like, I'm the only one here. And they're like, nope, your buddy's right behind the rock. I mean, so they are very conscious of trying to be up there at night, which is when it's happening.
But just so you know, we do feel the pressure of time. We see it in the construction costs. We are, doing our best to lock in a number, and there is a sense of urgency. This can't go on for a decade more.
Right.
We have to start construction.
Thank you guys very much for coming. Any other questions from the participants in the room? Thank you guys for, Mr. Massaro, go ahead.
So I want to congratulate us, what's been done so far. And Abby, I'm sorry to see you go. I wish you best of luck wherever you're going. Is that going to be posted on the town website, the presentation, tonight's presentation? Because I know some of the neighbors are going to be very interested in seeing that and everything else. But great. Again, I thank you. You know I'm in favor of this. Every letter I've written, no matter what my question about something, it's always been I'm in favor of the project and I want it to go forward. So, right? Anybody else?
Great update.
Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Have a great summer.
Good luck, Abby.
Take care, Abby.
See you at the opening. Our next appointment is with Heather Lemieux, Capital Strategy Solutions, to present applicants and projects for facade improvement program.
I just promoted her, so she'll be joining. Just give me a second to pull up her PowerPoint.
Whose screen is really black?
Pardon?
Are you getting a high def image on your screen?
No.
Okay.
No, I'm not either.
Okay. I just want to make sure it wasn't my Mac.
Nope.
Good evening. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you for being here.
Okay. Thank you for having me. So I was back. I'm back tonight. I was here in April to present to the board the program guidelines and application package, which you approved at that meeting. And so I just would like to just do a brief recap of the program for everyone who are at home as well, who may have missed that meeting and are not aware of the downtown facade improvement beautification program. So this grant was made possible through a state earmark received by the town under the Commonwealth's 2022 Economic Bond Bill. And the purpose of the funding was to encourage investment in downtown Medfield by helping businesses and property owners make visible exterior improvements that enhance the appearance and character of your downtown area. The select board approved the program guidelines in April. The program launched in May, and applications were due on June 7th. So following the approval of the guidelines, we focused on outreach to ensure businesses and property owners were aware of this opportunity. This included creating a dedicated webpage, an informational flyer, which is in the middle, and a recorded informational video explaining the program and application process. All of this information was on your town website. It was posted on your social media sites. I also attended a Medfield Employers and Merchants Organization monthly meeting in May and presented that to business owners at that meeting, giving out the flyer. They posted that flyer and information on how to apply on their social media and their website, and the town sent out that flyer that we created to all the eligible businesses in the downtown area. So we received 5 applications in all, 4 which were eligible, and the one that was ineligible was a property or a tenant of the property of one of the 5 applications and was considered incomplete as well. So there were 4 in all the town received. We used a application checklist to make sure the applications were complete. I contacted all the applicants for any missing information or clarifications in their application, and we used an evaluation scoring sheet for each application, and that was based on the 5 evaluation criteria and a set of standard questions that corresponded to the point system that was also outlined in the guidelines. So this, the application needed to be eligible by meeting the following criteria. It had to be a commercial property owner or business tenant with owner authorization, be located in the downtown program area, be visible from a public way, be permanent in nature, be for work that would occur after grant approval, not for work that's already been completed, comply with zoning permit building codes, be capable of completion by October 1st, and be in good standing with the town. That means being up to date with their taxes, permits, and fees. For eligible improvements, applications could include signage, storefront improvements, windows, doors, exterior lighting, awnings, architectural features, masonry work, walkways, hardscape, and permanent landscaping features, including planter boxes. For the applications we received, they were based, the evaluations used the 5 criteria that were in the program guidelines: visual impact, economic impact, program project readiness, the 375th anniversary, readiness, and design quality, each worth 20 points. The first application I'll review with the board is the Zulu Gallery Center for the Arts, which includes 454, 456, and 456A Main Street. This project focuses on 3 primary improvement areas, including the restoration of historic masonry and architectural details, installation of decorative and accent lighting, replacement of existing tenant signage with coordinated design more consistent with the building's historic character. This project also includes decorative bunting for community events. There's a little history on the building too. It's a very historical building. The total grant request was for $20,000, and that corresponds to what was outlined in the program guidelines, that the average minimum award would be $2,500, average maximum would be $20,000. The project estimates that the applicant provided was $29,058, and this includes all the aforementioned improvements. This was a visual that was provided by the applicant in their application package, showing the before on the left and a AI generated image on the right. These are more pictures depicting the masonry work. As outlined, you'll see area 1 above the signage, and so it's in the front of the building and the side of the building that faces the library. Additional images of the masonry work and brickwork that is being included in this improvement request. And lastly, what the AI generated image again of what the lighting and the new signage and bunting and improved masonry work would look like at the end product. The Medfield crossing at 18 North Meadows Road is the second application, and this sits along the primary corridor toward the center of the downtown area. It is a street-facing footprint that has a lengthy grass strip in front of it, and the applicant is applying to increase the visual appeal of property and to more reflect the historic, vibrant character of the downtown Medfield area. This property includes 12 businesses in this plaza. The proposal includes landscaping enhancements with perennial planting beds and artificial floral arrangements that would be along the railings of the system. In the left picture, it outlines if you can see, the red dots are the smaller perennial beds, and there would be new beds around the green circles. And the depiction on the right is showing those installed. The second part of the request is for sidewalk repairs, and that's just an area of the sidewalk that would need to be repaired. Also would be awning replacement, and there are 10 awnings in front of this business that would be replaced. Total project, go back for a second. Total project cost for this is $31,900, and the grant request is for $20,000. Thank you. Charmed at 70 North Street 1B is the third application, and this application seeks to enhance the exterior lighting and is for planters out front. Next slide, please. The total grant request is for $2,101.90, and that's the total project cost as well. Let's see, the exterior LED lights would be on either side of the existing signage, and that's a sample of the 2 planters would be purchased. And the last application is for 38 Park Street, which includes properties 24 through 38 Park Street, and this is along a connecting road to the Main Street area, and it hosts multiple buildings that would benefit from the proposed exterior improvements. The project includes replacing deteriorated timber, approximately 185 feet of that, with edging that would be out of granite cobblestone, and adding new landscaping and shrubs, improving the planting beds, and installing decorative lattice work, screening beneath the raised deck structure. Next slide, please. That shows the area where the lattice work would be underneath the deck structure. The total grant request is for $19,585. That is the total project cost as well. Next slide, please. So the 4 applications received the evaluation scores. These are listed from high to low. Zulo Gallery evaluation score using the set of standardized questions, and the criteria was 100 out of 100. The award amount being recommended at $20,000. Medfield Crossing evaluation score 100 out of 100 with award amount of $20,000. Be Charmed evaluation score of 80 out of 100 points with award amount of $2,101.98. And lastly, 38 Park Street evaluation score of 80 out of 100 with an award amount of $19,585. to review what the program guidelines set out to applicants, that the town had $120,000 available for this program, that it was a reimbursement-based grant program, that the minimum award would be around $2,500, typical awards between 5 and 10, with maximum awards of 20,000. These were all based on not knowing how many applications the town would receive and the competitiveness of the program, what sort of applications you would receive and the funding requests. The guidelines did allow the town to partially fund projects, adjust award amounts, or not fund applications that do not meet quality thresholds. So tonight, I'm asking the board to vote on award recommendations, also to the grant agreements, and these were included in the program guidelines, the template for a grant agreement, which was also vetted by your town council. And if we could execute those by early July, that would maintain the timeline that was set out from the beginning. And also considering the total requests that were received is approximately 61,000, consider doing a second round of funding with a deadline in later July, and would also possibly allow for additional funding for certain projects, particularly the 2 projects that exceeded the project costs. At this point, I'll take any questions from the board.
Heather, thank you very much. That was a great presentation. Gus, questions?
Yeah, just a couple. Thanks, Heather. That is a good presentation, and it's pretty clear to me that the process, I guess I'm actually glad to hear that the 4 projects that were qualified and eligible actually got approved and funded. And my reaction was those all seem to be in the right location. If we pick places that we thought projects or investments should be made to improve, those would probably be 4 of the top places. The only place maybe that I would think of would be the Bullards building is the one building, and maybe they didn't even try. So it feels like these projects landed in the right places. I will just subjectively state that of the 4 projects, the one on Park Street, it sounded to me, partly I guess they didn't use AI to show how great it was going to look when they were done, but that one felt more like a maintenance project to me as opposed to the others all seemed to be a bit more creative. That's not affecting my vote here. It's just making that observation. And I had a question, but I think you answered it. Basically what we used is about maybe 55% of the $120,000 that we had available, and with your recommendation to do a second round of funding, basically it doesn't sound like we lose the rest of it. It's actually, we still can do it if we go through a second round. So I'm happy to hear that. Even if that second round more fully funds the 2 projects that we've approved, assuming not enough other new projects come in. So those really weren't comments. You answered the questions that I had. Those are probably more comments than questions, but that's good. I'm happy to see where we're at on this.
Eileen?
So again, Heather, thank you very much. It was super helpful. I love seeing the AI images to kind of give us a visual of like what the little gallery could look like. And I'm curious, so if we, I support these, I think they're great. I love the direction this is going. And if we were to approve this tonight, let's say Zulo Gallery started working on it. What I love is that sometimes you don't know what you're missing out on until you start seeing activity and then you start asking questions. So I genuinely believe there may be other businesses that just had so much going on, they missed the boat that first go around. So the idea of offering the funding up again in July, I think is extremely beneficial, and hopefully someone like Chris Potts with Medfield Insider, if this gets blessed, that heightens the awareness, so people that may not have been aware of what was available will be aware, and then they'll kind of see how it's potentially being used, which may give business owners or property owners the ability to like, that's what we can do, you know. So I hope that we get a chance to do that in July, but I appreciate this very much, and look forward to seeing these projects move forward. Pete?
I am just a little fearful that my favorite sign in all of Medfield, which is the Casabella tomato sign, is at risk, but that'll be whatever it is. I think when you see the proposed, signage at the Zulu block now, I think I'll call it the Zulu block from going forward, it's just gonna make such a difference. So I think that this is just a wonderful thing. And my big question you answered, which is what do we do with the other 60,000 that we didn't award, and running it through again is good. I actually, my office is at 66 North Street to the right of the post office, and my landlord came to see me about an idea of his, and I specifically mentioned these grants to him, and I was fascinated that he was aware of them. So that the business owners are aware that these are out there. So do we have a motion then to approve?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Heather.
Thanks, Heather.
Did we have
Do
more
we-
than one?
Do we need to,
Thank you.
That's
do we need a
approved.
second vote to do it in July, or?
I think we can come back, the only thing as we are wrapping this up, Heather, I'm sorry we didn't get a chance to talk, but do we want to discuss the possibility of fully funding the one request that was only partially funded, or do you wanna just open it up and they can request for, additional funds? I think that was the only open question
I'd
that we
leave it
wanted.
I would like to see it opened up again. I
Open up
I don't
again,
wanna
okay.
have people who maybe like,
Yep.
shoot, I missed it, I'd love to do it,
Sure.
so.
Okay.
Yeah, what I would do on that, I think, only because of the award structure we said, which was the 20,000 was the maximum. What was good about those plans is that they came in with saying, well, this is the whole project we want to do. And if you give us 20,000 of it, it pushes us over being able to do that. I think if we open it up to everyone and maybe make it clear, preference will go toward making awards to new projects. If at the end of all that, we have money that's unspent, and then assuming we wouldn't be breaking any laws or any guidelines around the grant, to say, listen, the existing projects that actually had higher, you don't have to really do too much more, other than just be aware that if we have money that no one has asked for, then we will look at basically closing the gap.
Okay.
Well, what I wouldn't want to do is have people play if we ever get to do this again, play the game and say, oh, I think I can get this thing fully funded, and we just hand it to them. I think you want that only to be, if we're gonna not be able to use the money at all, then we'll help you out. You're the ones that took the first step forward. You came up with creative solutions. So there's a windfall this time around. It's not necessarily policy.
I would suggest that the town, if we're going to do this, another round of this, that we also specifically reach out to the owners of the buildings from China Sky around the corner all the way down to Palumbo's, and just alert them to the.
Everyone did something in the mail.
Oh, did they?
Sent out butters notices to everyone, so,
Okay.
they should have received the flyer in the mail, every single business, so. But we can certainly.
We can send it out
do
again?
Additional, outreach about, it makes sense to do an additional outreach about the application reopening, especially if they think they missed it, or if they didn't have time to do it, so, we can certainly do that again.
Perfect.
Great.
Just to add to your point about additional funding for those businesses that the project costs exceeded the 20,000, the guidelines gave enough flexibility for the board to award additional funds. I do like the idea, like you stated, of giving an opportunity for additional awards for other businesses before exceeding that 20,000.
All right.
So we all set going forward, do you think?
Yeah, unless you wanna make a formal vote to reopen the application, we can work on
We can start working on it now.
And then we can go from there. But we can come back and let everyone know about the timeframe. I think we'll have to look at timeframes of when applications and stuff will be due and stuff like that. But we can, if you wanna vote to,
I don't think we have a vote. I think it's clearly
okay,
our
then we're good.
desire to do it. so-
Okay.
Do it.
Perfect.
Okay.
Right.
Thank you so much for coming, Heather. Appreciate your help with this.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a
Thanks,
nice night.
You do have a comment in the chat.
That's a good consideration.
Yep.
If the deadline for completed project has to be adjusted, good point.
Yeah, we can talk to Heather about that.
That
Perfect.
was Zulu
It
weighing
would be for
in.
anybody, either of the two projects that could get additional funding. If they have to wait, then they can't wait unless you have a deadline.
Okay, our next item is Health Department quarterly update. Steve Resch, Health Director update, Board of Health update.
Although, hold on a minute, as I think about it.
Sorry, Steve.
So close.
No, as I think about it, right now, we've awarded something, only because Zula was the project, and they're gonna plan to move ahead with it to get it done by October 1st.
Yeah.
If we run a second iteration, and it's that project, we're not saying you can add another project, we're saying we'll fully fund or we'll fund more of your project, then there's no reason why they can't move ahead with getting the project done with the 1 October deadline. It's
Right.
just a question of whether they have to write as big a check as they thought they did to cover their portion of it.
Right, that's the way I look at it, is
Yeah,
it
I mean,
doesn't rent
I think if it's associated with that first project and they move ahead with the work, because there was you're not supposed to do the project first before you get awarded the money.
Mm.
But in this case, because there's the opportunity to, we could give them more funding, I think that would be fine.
Yeah, but I mean, if they're committed to this, they've already committed to making up the difference.
Yeah,
We might make it less painful.
that's,
Sorry, Steve.
That's all right.
Hi, everyone. So, quick quarterly update from the Public Health Department. I'd say this quarter we're really starting to hit our stride. I've been here now since September, and we really, a lot of onboarding stuff, but now we've really this quarter been getting a lot done. We right now have with shared services, have a community health assessment survey in the field. That's going to all 4 shared services towns, which, to remind you, is Sherborne, Dover, Medfield, and Needham. And my understanding is that currently Medfield has the highest participation rate, so go Medfield. The public health nursing is also experiencing, I think, hitting its stride in terms of seeing growth and demand and, lines at blood pressure clinics and things of that nature, and a pretty good success rate with the maternal programs over at the library. And also, we now have 3 inspectors besides myself who have been active in town doing food and pool inspections primarily. And so that's really probably, if I was going to highlight something, that's probably where we've made our best progress on a goal we had. So in terms of camps, we've had 8 applicants and 5 permits so far have been issued. We have 4 pools that we regulate, and those have all been inspected and opened. The beach is coming soon, probably this week or next. That's Hinkley Pond. And then in terms of food inspections, so just to understand that there's basically routine inspections and re-inspections, right? So you don't necessarily need to get a re-inspection all the time. And the standard is to have at least, and the bare minimum is 2 routine inspections per year, per 12 months. And for certain higher risk restaurants and so forth, it should often be 3 routine inspections if they have certain characteristics or they have a track record that requires more attention. So where are we on that? So in terms of our first routine inspection, if you count all of our establishments in town, we're 73% complete in doing a first routine inspection. And that's 43 inspections and there's 16 left. And those 43 inspections, one thing I'll mention about it is we prioritized places with kitchens. So there are the the establishments that are left are basically the CVS, Cumberland Farms, those type of food retail things that are relatively lower risk, you could say, than the ones we inspected first. And of those 43, we did have 12 of those go on to have a reinspection, and there's a couple others that have a reinspection scheduled. We are, as you'd expect, in having a hiatus in inspectional services in this area for some time. We did find a high level of violations, I guess you could say. We had 246 violations in those first routine inspections. So that's like, 5, and now it's not distributed evenly across the establishments, but it's 5 on average. So, we're finding things. Of those 246 violations, 50% of them are what you would call, about 50% of them are what you would call priority violations, which are the more significant from a health risk perspective, that get prioritized for being corrected quickly. But a lot of these violations can be corrected on site, and have been corrected on site. We have found that establishments where there had to be some kind of infrastructure upgrade, whether it's having a hand washing sink or a mop sink or the right kind of covering on the walls in a food prep area, those kinds of things. So there have been some infrastructure improvements that we've asked for. Also, certain restaurants have cooking procedures which have a higher risk. A classic example is sushi rice, but other restaurants also have intermittent cooking processes which basically have to get a variance from the Board of Health and have to be written up because they have the potential to be riskier. If you have non-continuous cooking of food, that can be riskier. Sushi rice is kept at room temperature, and the reason that's safe is because it's acidified with vinegar, basically. But if you're not doing that properly, then that becomes a risk too. So those types of situations we're looking closely at and making sure that there's compliance there. And so that's, I think, in terms of workload, that's been our big win. Like, I feel like we can say we've had eyes in every restaurant in Medfield that has a kitchen. We've had eyes in. We still have some food service kitchens like at the churches that we have to get to, and some food retail locations to get to. But we made a lot of progress, and moving forward, they'll be getting their second routine inspection sometime in the next, calendar year, in the remaining of this calendar year, I should say. In terms of next quarter priorities, we do have 2 interns right now, summer interns, which is great. One is working more clinically with our public health nurse Emily and Kathy McDonald, doing some data analysis, but also helping with the communication plan for how the public health department presents itself on the web. What information, how do we ensure that information is not stale? How do we assure that the important information is there? What is the procedure we can use to keep things up to date without being overly burdensome on our staff, being sort of right-sized to our staff? We can't really have a full-on social media, 5-dimensional, campaign of, because we don't have the skills or the people to do that kind of thing. But we can at least do the best we can with the town website that we have to make sure the information there is current and relevant and what people are looking for. the other intern is working on our other priority, which is revising the fees and updating the permits. So we have not raised fees since before the millennium. And so our fees have been sort of stuck at their current level for 25 years. So it's worth looking at how they compare to other towns, how they compare to the workload of our department in terms of, you know, if we're giving out a restaurant permit, you know, for a certain fee, but we have to do 2 or 3 inspections or investigate complaints and so forth, that we could right-size the fee to the kind of expected work that we do in servicing, on our side, to make sure that business that the public's protected. The other advantage of working on the fees and the permitting process and the permitting language, standard operating procedures for determining which business gets which type of permit, because that's another thing that's been a little bit fuzzy historically. That's all going to benefit us as soon as we click over to the next fiscal year, and presumably the OpenGov will be available to the Public Health Department, and then we can begin migrating this kind of process to OpenGov, so that there's an online interface with the public, and all of the forms that are currently on paper would be, we'd be capturing that data in a database, which would be awesome. Also for the next quarter, or I should say even for the rest of the year, we do, as you know, we passed the board passed the tobacco regulations, so we have to work on implementing that and work, a training for the tobacco sales, the retail sales outlets, make sure they know what they need to do to comply with that. What else? I think that's about it. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Steve.
All right.
I have just one quick question
Sure.
for you, Steve, and I don't know if you can answer it. On the deficiencies that you found during the health inspections, do you have a sense of whether those deficiencies are a result of the hiatus in the inspections, where people know how to do it right, but because they know nobody's checking on them, they adopt, expedited procedures that are actually technical violations? So it's an accountability issue. Or are some of these things people that the operators actually literally don't know?
Yeah,
So it's more of an education.
So I think it's a little bit of both. So definitely, the inspectors, besides myself, the other 3 inspectors are coming from other towns, from Needham, and then we contracted the inspector from Westwood, who's sort of moonlighting for us. And so they have experience in other places too, and generally have the feeling that, if they're wiser than me in terms of what they've seen over the years, because they've been doing this longer, and they said, if you reliably inspect them twice, 3 times a year, the amount of violations is going to go down, and the seriousness of the violations is going to go down, and the basic level of knowledge is going to go up. In fact, it's been so long since some of these restaurants had been inspected, or at least since we could confirm they'd been inspected, that we actually switched to a system for the first inspection of notifying them that we're coming this week, right? We're going to be there, and along with that, they got an email that said, these are the things you're going to be looking for, and everything. So there, because otherwise it was so bad, right? In terms of you couldn't get through an inspection because there was so many things, and you have to kind of figure out, well, what are the big things I want to make sure to correct here, because they're an imminent risk or that kind of thing. and so that really helped. So when people knew we were coming, we just still didn't tell them exactly, like, we're going to be here today at 4 o'clock, but we told them that we'll be there that week. And I think that heads up really helped. And, you know, we've gotten a modest amount of pushback from businesses that weren't happy to be inspected or to be inspected in the way they were inspected. But, you know, I think that it's not out of the norm for this kind of work, you know, that happens. But I've tried to follow up with those businesses just to hear what they're saying and make sure that we're providing a good level of service, and they understand that, you know, well, this is part of our job, and it's part of, you know, part of running a restaurant. So anyway, I think that it's generally been going well. There is a lot of re-education, you know, so like those HACCP plans I was describing for like how you make properly acidified sushi rice. So there's, you know, there's a lot of like retraining that needs to happen on that, because it's you know, it's like a 5-6 step process. You have to calibrate a pH meter, and, you know, it's like there's things, you know, so if there's staff turnover, and in those businesses, you know, there's a lot of staff turnover and maybe not, you know, so anyways, yeah, I hope that answers the question.
One trivia question. What are the 4 pools in town?
The 4 pools are, there's 3 pools, believe it or not, at Kingsbury Club, because the splash pad counts
Okay,
as a
there's
pool.
Oh, okay.
So there's the kiddie pool, if you
okay.
will, and the main pool,
And the splash.
and the splash pad,
Okay.
and then Medfield Gardens.
Oh, okay, sure.
And
okay.
Medfield Gardens is
Yep.
you know, that had changed over in management, and they have actually this year, they're going to be doing quite a few infrastructure upgrades there, to get into compliance. So that was good, but they've been very cooperative, and we've been able to open them. So
Okay.
yeah.
Thanks. That's it.
Eileen?
Well, you asked.
We all take turns on you.
Well, I learned my first year, we start of chair 3 from me, and then we go to the chair. So you actually asked a question, I wrote down pools, like I knew that, I was thinking Kingsbury had 2, so 3 is splash pad counts, and then,
Yeah.
and then right around the corner from Medfield Gardens, so yes, they have a pool, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
The other thing that you did address in answering Gus was, I was curious as to how the restaurant owners were responding to you, because to your point, you are representing the town of Medfield, because we haven't done it. I was thinking when you were talking, like, oh, you got the white pylon effect. Like, you know, because we haven't had them up there, it doesn't mean it's okay to take a right in a certain area when you're not supposed to be taking a right when the person in front of you is still in line, right?
Yeah.
So here you are coming and doing your job, and you're asking them to do what's right, even though they might not have thought that was the process. Now you're coming in, and I love the fact you gave them a heads up. You gave them a heads up what you're going to be looking for. I mean, that's extremely proactive to be. We're coming in to be a partner. We're not coming in to bust
Right.
chops.
Right.
But are there any restaurants that are at risk of having to shut down if they're not going to respond? I'm not asking for names. I'm just curious.
No, we shut down one restaurant for one day, and we have had restaurants throw out product, but you know, I think everybody has been. I would say for the most part, everybody has been pretty actively trying to comply. You know, some of the things where, like, if you have to get a mop sink or something, we're giving people 90 days to do that. It's not that, you know, we're gonna, you know, and if someone were to say, I need another 40 days or whatever, you know, we would work with them on that.
That's
yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
No, and I think, just listening to rattle off all the things you've been doing, you're quite busy. It's fantastic to see you lead this up, and I appreciate everything you do. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for coming. I've sort of known that the Board of Health covered a huge variety of things, but hearing the depth of the sorts of things that you cover is very helpful. I had no idea about the amount of knowledge that it takes to inspect a kitchen, to know how to cook sushi rice, store it at room temperature, being okay if you prepared it right. So it's a huge learning curve, I assume, for you.
Definitely.
So thank you for undertaking all of that. I think that the OpenGov will save you guys a lot of time, because you're going to have your permit application people inputting their data into the system for you, rather than you're having to put that in. So I think that'll be a great change. And I'm so glad to hear the improved inspections that you're doing. I think that serves the town really well. So thank you for that diligence.
I'm also pretty confident that ultimately the OpenGov is going to improve our efficiency quite a lot. For the most basic reason is that when you have to fill out a form with pen and paper, if you decide to leave something blank, I can't stop you from going to the next field, right? But I can stop you from submitting an incomplete application if it's on a computer. And that will save us a lot of time, because we do end up chasing down information that just was omitted from a paper form all the time. So.
I sent you a name for an intern.
I did, yes.
Got that?
Yep,
Good.
thank you.
Thank you guys so much for what you do at the Board of Health. We have a question for Mr. Massaro.
Curiosity, I was just wondering, when you did your pool inspections and everything else, do you have to inspect the lifeguards, whether they're certified or not? I'm assuming there's lifeguards at some of these pools?
Yeah, so the Medfield Gardens pool does not have lifeguards. It's a no lifeguard on duty. It's a semi-public pool, because it's it's basically for the people who live in that complex. And the Kingsbury does have lifeguards, and we do, part of the inspection is to make sure that they have enough lifeguards, and and that they're up to date in their certifications and all of that. Yeah.
Thank you so
Thanks,
much
Steve.
for coming.
Hi, Kathy Thompson, Board of Health. We're so thrilled, of course, to have Steve and to have all those inspections. He's done such a great job. For the tobacco regulations, all the members of the Board of Health have signed those, and then Steve will be submitting those to the state. And as he said, he'll be talking with the vendors. 2 of them have already requested copies. So that's good, so that they're aware. And of the new date, anybody who's not 21, as of January 1st, will never be able to buy tobacco products in Medfield. And again, we were the 24th town, so we're very excited about that, and I'm happy that that went through. We were glad that we had the public hearing, even though that wasn't required. We really only had 2 people dissent. One was a business owner in Sherburne whose daughter lived in Medfield, who didn't think it was a good idea, as well as the president of the convenience stores, who goes to all the towns. So we were happy about that. A new initiative that, sorry you didn't receive this ahead of time. We're not expecting anything from you, but a new member of the board. We're thrilled to have Dr. Jack Haddigan, who's a cardiologist. And he unfortunately couldn't be here tonight because he's on call at the Brigham. But he would like the Board of Health support, and eventually possibly the Select Board's approval to support opening of Norwood Hospital. Now, I don't know if people saw, there was an article in the Globe yesterday. Everything comes down to finances, but they really feel like the group, Medical Properties Trust out of Alabama, is really making it difficult. The original proposal was $250 million, and when they were told that that was too much money, they upped it to $375. So it's going in the wrong direction, so that, now they'll need the state to help with that. And being a cardiologist in particular for him, it's, some things like you can say, well, a stroke, now that we have, great support with our EMS, they can, they carry those medications. That's not true for a cardiac cath lab, which is, of course, near and dear to his heart, being a cardiologist, and how that really impacts people's survivability and disability if they don't get to a cardiac cath lab, which Norwood had. And none of our other local hospitals have those. So you have to be transported into Boston, sometimes to a local hospital and then to Boston. So he's, really pushing to have, to do whatever we can in support of Norwood Hospital, not just for cardiac stuff, for all of our community needs. And long wait times now that we don't have as many community hospitals around. So the board all voted that we are 100%, behind that proposal, and we'll be submitting a letter to Governor Healy. He also is part of a grassroots group that really wants all the local boards of health in those departments, as well as towns. So he's going to be working with sending more letters out.
We've
So-
already done that.
sent one.
Yeah,
We've done that,
we've
we've
already
gone to
done
the
that, yeah.
rallies,
Great.
we're part of that.
Super. So thank you for that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's really
For
great.
what it's worth, having heard, I didn't see it in the Globe, I heard it on NPR this morning.
Yep.
You clearly have an owner operating in bad faith, so the issue isn't the state reopening the hospital.
Right.
I would think that the issue would be, does the state have any recourse whatsoever to
Yes.
take the property as a...
Yes.
This is making the medical argument. I
Right.
think this is time for a legal fight.
Yes, and I think
that's-
that's part of what his group is working on. Yep.
I believe the state took St. Elizabeth's,
Mhm.
and so that's this group's goal. Reopen Norwood Hospital, they have a change.org petition. And many boards of health, even outside of their catchment area, are writing letters because the hospitals in their catchment areas are overburdened.
Right.
That being said, as a mom who raised children here, my oldest is 37, they had pediatric at
Right.
ED. And back in the Glover, BID Needham didn't have that. And a psych support unit 24/7. So we lost a significant amount of services.
But, yeah, the
And-
state's problem right now, I think, though, is that if Mass General
Right.
bring them, probably the best choice for someone to buy it, stepped
Right.
away from it. The
Right.
state's got two problems. One, how do you force a bad faith actor to let you actually gain the property? And then how do you get the best, most responsible bidders, and bidders plural, but how do you get the real people you need that'll be competent to run that hospital, either to the table or back to the table
Right.
to actually go there? That sounds to me like what the real issue is right now. It's not, do we want
Yes.
a hospital? It's,
It's the financial piece. Yeah.
If the eminent domain happens, I am told, never 100%, that a judge determines a fair asking price, and then hopefully you'll have people that want to respond. We appreciate that, and the ask, and Dr. Cadigan was disappointed he couldn't come, is to have you all consider a letter, and he'll be glad when we leave to tell him that you already did.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's on the website or whatever, but we'll give him that for his group. I don't know when that was, but thank you for that.
it's in that was less than a year. It's within the last year. I think, I would have guessed it was sometime last fall, because there was a big push last
Yeah,
fall. There was a hearing at the
Hearing at the
State House.
Yeah.
And the chief did multiple
Right.
letters
Right.
as well.
Yeah,
That's
great.
awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
So he wrote a letter, and we'll send it to Christine, and she'll distribute it to you as a template for us, and you all, well, it's there, but we appreciate it. We're hoping. Eminent domain, I guess, is the goal.
And then the last thing that Steve mentioned, the community health assessment, we're thrilled that ended yesterday, and really thankful to Medfield Outreach and their staff, which really pushed getting this done, not only at the senior center, but, you know, at sports games. And so it's great that we had such a great response, so appreciate Kathy and her staff doing that. And it'll be interesting to see the responses. So I know, Gus, you know, you talked about that 10 years ago, so I was really happy that that's come, and maybe we'll get some good data from that. So, super. Thanks.
No, fantastic, thank you.
I just wanted to make a comment about the Norwood Hospital situation, because
Yes.
I think that what Ralph De La Torre, who was the CEO of Stewart, did to the Stewart system was virtually criminal. I mean, he took this thing that was not making a ton of money, but it was keeping its head above waters, and he separated the real estate from the medical practice and sold the real estate at this huge amount of money. And people, the newspapers have printed pictures of his mega yacht that's hundreds of millions of dollars. And so that this system was just bled of money, and now the town of Norwood is stuck with a shell, and the company that owns it is never going to get a license from the state to open a hospital. And so I'm glad to hear that St. Elizabeth was taken by eminent domain, and that certainly sounds like a possibility then.
I feel like today we have, and you have new members. Dr. Karotes, a pediatrician, Dr. Cadigan, cardiac. We're motivated to use our voice and to be people that can advocate with data and science for the health of our communities, especially in this tenuous time of federal funding is not here. So various ways we can use our voices, and it's usually grassroots. So this initiative is hoping that the legislature move forward. And you know, our board has talked also about being more involved this year in our listening and learning about budgeting for our health department and expanding our capacity. We've been appreciative to be a part of that 4-town grant funded by the state that you all signed on, and Steve has benefited by inspectional services, and Emily, our nurse, partners with the nurses of the region. But we also, as a board, want to get involved and understand more of what we have and what services we can work towards building as far as our capacity, more in public health nursing, because I feel like we have our environmental health starting to build. Our town is growing, and we want to do right and advocate. It's not always going to happen right out of the chute, but we're planning on being more involved in understanding for our budgets and staffing. But we appreciate it, and Kathy is my North Star.
Can you just maybe bring me up to date on how we're doing on our town nurse that went from a full-time to a part-time position?
Yep, so Emily.
Getting what we need?
Yep, so Emily works 19 hours a week. We did have a full-time public health nurse, though, and she does a wonderful job. The seniors love her. You know, her maternal child health stuff is really great. You know, but there's lots of other things that we could be doing. So it's great that we're getting all the health agent stuff, you know, up to date. And Emily, again, is hitting her stride, getting lots of input from shared services and all. You know,
Yeah,
personally.
Just for clarification, the reason why the public health nurse went from full-time to part-time was to allow us to create an actual health department. And I think you've heard tonight that we were lacking in our inspectional services. So it's definitely somewhat
Absolutely, yeah.
a place we needed to grow. So,
Yeah.
you know, obviously we will try to increase the public health nurse hours as possible as we go into this next, you know, tenuous budget season.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like in the interim, we're finessing it with
The shared
multi-talent
services has
person.
helped.
That's
Yep,
great.
yep. No, very appreciative for that.
They cover for each other and
Yeah.
support each other, and that's vital.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you for all your time and for having us.
Our fifth item, not making fast progress tonight. I see it's after 3. Mike Barta to request the temporary use of additional town property at the wastewater treatment plant for the animal shelter.
Hi, I'm Mike Barta. I'm the president of the animal shelter and the maintenance guy and a whole bunch of other things. I've been involved with the animal shelter since 1998, so it's been a long
Before there was an animal shelter.
Before there was an animal shelter, we built the animal shelter. The shelter is now 22 years old. It needs some renovation. We're working with Mitchell Construction here in town. They're donating a tremendous amount of time and discounts from their vendors. The Medfield Foundation gave us a grant, amongst others. We've been collecting the money now for, I don't know, 3 years, let's say. We're fully funded, ready to go. About a week and a half ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, we got the final construction schedule from Mitchell. We're going to be closing the building on July 27th and reopening the building no later than September 10th. So we have about a 6.5 week period. We have to prepare for that. So we have about 50 plus animals in our care right now, both at the shelter and in foster care. And it dawned on us that we need a space other than our closed building, which we can't access. When the town built the town garage, they put a trailer up, which was the official town garage, actually, during the town garage construction. And they made a really nice pad, which is gravel leveled area, which is right up from our parking lot, so it's right next to our building. And that pad is sitting there unused, and I'm here to ask for permission we're gonna rent a trailer. It's an office trailer. We're negotiating right now, but it'll be about 10 by 36 to put on that pad. I'm getting a trailer permit from the building department for that. We're gonna have an electrician, under permit of course, wire some electricity to it, and maybe a plumber run some water to it. And it'll be there for about 2.5 months, I'd say. We will have plenty of incentive to get rid of it because we're paying for it. So as soon as we can stop using it, we will. That's my request.
Yes, Mr. Sorrell.
You have the ability to use a license agreement. Same thing we,
Yes, we're just looking for approval tonight.
yeah.
This pad that you're describing when you were talking about DPW,
Yeah.
this pad is or in the vicinity of the
It's right-
wastewater
it's
treatment
right
plant,
there,
so
yeah.
it's probably
It's
why.
still- The
didn't-
gravel's
okay.
still kind of showing.
Mike, you presented it in a way that there was a DPW trailer that went there, and I think you meant maybe it was an animal shelter trailer that went there?
There was never any trailer except the DPW trailer.
It was our,
Oh,
it was
all
the
right. I
remote
misunderstood
offices.
that.
It
for
was
the
used as an
DPW.
office by
Yeah.
DPW while the town garage was being built.
Gotcha.
Oh,
And
okay.
they spread their equipment all over the place, and this was kind of like their office.
So, and Mike and I had a conversation on Thursday, to try and expedite this, and luckily you were meeting tonight so that we can work out, we've talked about the insurance, he's already working with
Yeah.
Dana on getting the permits, so this would just be approval to go there, at no cost, and then we'll get that set up.
And coincidentally, this location is almost right at the animal shelter, so
It's
the
pretty
logistics are
perfect.
pretty simple. Perfect,
Pretty
got it.
perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, and you clarified for me, because at one point I was thinking that it was a temporary trailer at the current highway, so.
It is not.
It was up at DPW, up by the water treatment plant, so that makes more sense for you.
It's gonna be right behind, if you've been in there where the shelter
Yep.
is. So the shelter has a parking lot, and there's a little bit of a hill, and there's a flat spot. It'll be right there.
No, that's good. Well, I appreciate you coming in, right? Because by coming in and asking permission, because it's town land, it sets the right precedent for others that have come in and like they just assume it's town land, they can just take it if the department says yes. So I think it's great that you came in and explained everything and.
Great.
And it's hopefully knock on wood, it's a short window. You don't pass your 2.5 months, you can be out of there.
That is our,
So-
Mitchell is fantastic.
Yeah.
We praise them highly. They made us one of their, they do a community project where they give back, they try to do at least one a year.
Oh, good.
And so they chose us when we approached them about what we needed to do.
Cool. All right, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to hear that you're fixing the place up and that you've got a solution. I'm fine with it, so do you need us to take a vote on this? Or?
I would say, vote to authorize, the shelter to utilize that space and to authorize me to work with Mike on the license agreement.
Do we have a motion to that effect?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, aye.
Very good,
Yes.
thank you.
Good luck, Mike.
Good luck
Appreciate
with
it.
it.
Thank you.
I'll email you tomorrow.
Okay, thank you, Christine.
Discussion items, potential votes, review and potential vote on the charter for the Committee for the Exploration of Real Estate Tax Relief for Seniors. What does that spell? So this is in response to the issue that was raised, whether we could provide some sort of relief for seniors, and at our last meeting, we said that we would look into appointing a committee and creating a charge, and Brittany circulated some draft language from Littleton, which seemed good to me, so thank you for that. Gus, any issues?
Yeah, having quickly gone through it, yeah, I do have issues. First off, it doesn't, as I read the bullets, what I read subliminally in those is that we are decided we're going to do this. We're just trying to find the right way to do it, and I'm actually skeptical that we're going to find a good answer here that meets all the criteria here. One of the ones that I hadn't anticipated, I think, was Christine had mentioned to me that some of the other tax relief programs would be negatively impacted by the kind of a program that we at least were initially talking about here. So there's interactions between all these programs that we would have to be very sure we understand, and if we do something despite those interactions, anyone who wants to participate would need to be fully informed. So that's, in terms of the kind of thinking that has to go here, that needs to include that. For that reason, the one thing I'd have around the composition of the board, at least for the two of you to consider. The board right now says in this draft is 2 citizens at large, 1 representative from the COA, and 2 members of the select board. I would, and Christine hasn't heard this from me because I hadn't seen this, but I would say 1 member of the select board and have, hear me out. 1 member of the select board and Yvonne.
It has to be Yvonne.
And
And
what's
she has offered up her services
what-
as well.
And Yvonne,
Yes.
yeah, we ought to have the tax assessor there, because as you start doing this, you start creating overlays, she'd be the one that would know the burden that's being shifted and where it's going. And as far as having 2 of us there,
No, that's just
you don't
because
need it,
Littleton did
it. That's
and
from
we
a-
still
that's
have
a
to approve it
five-member-
anyway, so all
That's
three
it. I
of
looked
us
up, as
would
soon
have
as I
to be
saw
on board.
that, I'm like, they must have a 5-member board, and that's what I did.
But
So
that
my
was,
reaction on that, 2 select board members was that we probably shouldn't have any select board members, is my thought, that, we just trust the residents to come up with a plan. But
I'd be okay with that too, because we have to approve it. We're not adversaries to this thing. So I think, I'd agree with that, Pete,
Yeah.
but then the
You want to have a
question.
liaison so that they need to come to someone on the select board without coming to a meeting?
Well,
They can-
No. Well, if we want 5, and we take both select board members out of it, my first thought was we'll have 2 COA members so that it's, 2, and 1. But Kathy, you're here, and having someone who you could be confident would be sympathetic to the seniors, but would also be sympathetic to where the impacts fall. I could see somebody potentially from Medfield Outreach.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
For the broader perspective you have on all of the needs of the town, as opposed to just this one group that we're talking about. So that came off the top of my head, but she's nodding yes, at least that it's feasible. So that might be another way to do that if you want to get rid of
Yep.
both
Yeah, I don't think a
select
select
board.
board member needs to be on it. I don't.
Yeah, I can agree with that argument.
Keeps it more neutral.
Would that be reasonable then? You think that 1 select board member gets replaced by Yvonne, 1 gets replaced by a designee from Medfield Outreach? The other option might be the warrant committee, but I think we're getting down into the weeds of finances, and that's not really necessary at this
No,
point.
They can present to the warrant committee if
Yeah.
they have something
Yeah.
they want to bring
Yeah.
forward, but
And
Do you
I-
want designees or representatives? Because that will give you different people.
I'm not sure.
A designee from, let's say, Medfield Outreach could designate someone that's not on their advisory board.
I would, well,
Or do you want someone from,
Do you want an employee? Do you want?
yeah, I guess that's the difference, is you could get very different people or outcome from those.
I think,
I would probably nominate myself, given that I oversee.
Kathy, can you just use a microphone, please? Sorry. It's good exercise for you.
Hi. I was just saying I'd probably do it myself,
Okay.
given my role with the Council on Aging and,
I mean, I think, yeah, as Health and Human Services Director, that would probably be,
Yeah,
yeah.
because you're gonna
Right.
see the impact of the populations outside the senior center as well.
right.
And I agree, I am also sympathetic to,
Right,
I mean,
sure.
I have to deal with numbers in those budgets, so,
Right.
you know, you gotta walk
That's,
that
that,
the
if
middle
you
line.
could do that, I think
Sure.
that would be ideal.
Okay.
And then, but now Brittany, your question, how does that question apply or not apply to the COA member?
I don't know, that's up to you. Do you
Well, I didn't even know it was an issue
do you
until you
want
raised
to
it.
be, you know, a senior, like Sarah, an employee, or do you want them to
That,
designate?
I'd rather have I think I'd rather have the
You know,
voice of
COA
the,
member.
of senior citizen. that,
Okay.
you know,
So have them designate somebody. I think
Someone
that
have
makes the
them
most
designate
sense,
someone.
yeah.
Okay.
And then 2 citizens at large would be just sending in, sending in information to us and let us review.
Yeah, so we can open it up and then, we can review.
We already have one volunteer, right?
Yes.
Letters of interest and
Mhm.
then you
Yeah,
can, when
Lester
tonight
already
next
volunteered.
meeting, we have 2 members or
Okay.
more, so.
Good.
Yeah, we can open that up.
I know from meeting with Lanny Starr at my office hours that he's still interested in
Yeah.
serving on this, so.
Yeah. And he qualifies both as somebody who is in the situation that he'd like, you know, he at least understands the situation. And
Yep.
that would work. Having said all that, I think we need further guidance from this committee around, I did this just off the top of my head, but when these recommendations come in, it's not just a recommendation, oh, these towns did this, so that might be a good thing for us to do. It needs to be, it's fine, look at other towns, how are they set up, how well are their programs running? But I would actually like for any recommendation that there's an analysis of the consequences of that, and the ones I ran just off the top of my head, something that discusses the impacts of on the taxpayer. So if this gets shifted, where does it go to? Where's the burden? And that also includes the magnitude of the shift, obviously, because second was any interactions with the other relief programs. So that's the issue I think that Yvonne brought up. A third one is oversight required. And where I'm coming from here is if you establish a program where people can apply for the program based on longevity and how long they've been in the town and what their financial status is, there's a whole bunch of murky things that come in with that. If they own the house, they qualified, they've been here long enough, and they're in the right financial situation, but they then move their kid's family in to live in the house, who figures that out? I don't think our intention is to do that, but how do you actually literally go about doing those kinds of things? So basically it comes down, if there's a recommendation on something to do, what are the potential pitfalls that particular approach can have by way of, abuse or even just simply things going off the rails. And then the fourth one was eligibility and qualifications. I think when we talked before in the meeting, the one thought was, well, people can apply for it. I think I can speak with a fair amount of authority over the course of my life that some people who would qualify technically for a program like this will choose not to ask it. So it's actually better, it's going to be more expensive to have a program that just establishes a criteria and says, look, if you meet this criteria, you just let us know and you're in the program. There's going to be a bigger group of people that would qualify. Some of them may still not apply, but as soon as it's a needs-based program that people have to go and say, I need this, maybe you have to do it every year over and over and over again, you're not going to get some of the people that you're trying to get simply because they're not going to do that. So I think that eligibility and qualifications definition is going to be important. Mark? Oops.
I was looking back at my because I've gathered materials on this for about 12 years or more, and Sudbury has this program, and they had 240 people that qualified for it, and less than half of them actually applied.
Now, the last meeting you brought up 2014 data, is that now 2026 data?
That's 2014, that's
Okay,
from.
2014 to me is noise.
is what?
Yeah, but, well, it's useful to say that half of the people that were eligible applied,
But that's
just to the
2014,
point.
like, the world has changed dramatically, so I'd be intrigued today what it looks like, right? Because it, I
Yeah,
mean,
well,
it matters, like, because we're.
I spoke to Sudbury in 2018, and it was pretty much the same. They had 110 applicants that year.
I'd be intrigued post-COVID, because post-COVID changed the real estate market dramatically.
And I'm
So
interested
people might have
that
got priced out.
It's, the financial eligibility is linked to the circuit breaker, so that sounds like that would be a lot easier to determine than I had envisioned.
I only
So
say
I
that
think
because like,
that's-
it may be more,
that's
right?
where you
I'm
run
not
into the
saying it's gonna be
problem.
fewer.
Yeah.
The other thing that I noticed from reviewing the materials that I had was that in Sudbury, they do a deferral of real estate taxes and only charge a 2%
Yeah.
rate of interest. And so that might be a way to get a lot of seniors.
We have that now,
But what rate do we charge?
5%. It's set by the state, it's 5%,
So it might have been 2%.
Sudbury was doing 2%.
back in 2014.
No, 18.
Oh,
But-
it's been increased. I checked with the bond and it was 5%.
Oh,
But still,
well,
that's.
5% is not bad.
Right,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not bad.
Better than 17.
But that's a program we actually have.
Yeah.
But maybe people don't understand it, so there may be that too.
Also agree.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mark that.
Yes, Mark.
So this might have been mentioned earlier, but the Municipal Modernization Act has that the governor's attempting, it's Municipal Modernization 2, I don't know exactly what its technical name is, but that does have the last I knew,
Opt-in.
opt-in,
Yep.
a local option component to proceed with one of these type of
Yeah,
programs.
but it hasn't passed for some reason. I don't know why, so,
It's not,
Inertia.
it's not moving forward.
so.
Okay.
So do we need to do anything more with this, or do you want any further definition from the select board as to?
No, I think we'll add in the
Yep.
comments that you just made, how we'll do that. We'll add
Okay.
in, do a formal charge on our letterhead, and then we'll, seek
Good.
input from people who want to serve on it.
Okay, thank you.
And when I say I'm doing that, I meant Brittany. Just so we're all clear.
Action item is next. Board and committee reappointments, appointments, and resignations for FY '27 as shown on the spreadsheet attached to this agenda.
And then you had a couple of updates, I There's a think. couple of updates, so I think you have a new.
We should have a new one in our packet. Yep.
Here.
And I think before we get started, I just want to give a very nice shout out to Callie Quinlan, who's one of our interns for the summer, who put this list together.
Love that.
And she's very anxiously awaiting for you to vote these, because tomorrow, that means we have new board and committee software. So instead of keeping our Excel spreadsheets, she will be able to start utilizing that new software.
We'll actually bring everything up and modernize it.
Yes, just a little bit.
Yes, very exciting.
Yes, so we thank her for slogging through all of our old agendas to put this together for you.
So Chris, how do you want us to do this procedurally, to do it efficiently? Do you want to do it by page, or just approve, or do you want to go through and point out the ones that are issues? I highlighted some that I thought were going to be issues,
Okay.
like
I
Michael
think-
LaFrancesca's left.
Yeah.
Yeah, that, we had put that together before that was announced. But- And he's a
obviously.
school committee designee, so we would just hold an appointment until the school committee lets you know who they will have serving.
Yep.
Yeah, we can go individual.
So why don't we go page by page, and then,
That's perfect.
or does anybody have any issues on the first page? And maybe you can point out anything that's different on your current version, so that,
Okay.
Nothing on the first page that's different.
I just had a question.
Let me suggest that we do the categories, because the first page, constables and keepers of the lockup, continues onto the second page. So
Yeah, yeah. Do you have
do
any-
it by board or committee, and not by just the page break.
Well, I was going to ask if anybody had any issues on each of the pages as we go along, and then we'll deal with those issues. And then if, I
And-
don't think there'll be that many issues, and then
No,
we
I
can
don't
just
think
vote
so,
the whole
yeah.
thing, probably.
And Mark, the only thing that I think we have, in the past, we voted separately, like, in this case, on this first page, everybody that's up for reappointment is up for reappointment for a one-year term, so they're all clean.
Yeah.
when we have some that are one-year terms, some that are two-year, or some that are three, some that are reappointments versus actual new appointments, how critical is it for us to differentiate whether we're reappointing them, appointing them, and being clear about the terms?
We'll just
Or
vote
can we
them
just,
in
can we just say
accordance
what's
I mean,
here?
if you were comfortable with this document's accuracy, or you went through and made sure that was accurate, and then voted it to adopt that by reference,
Yep.
to avoid having to go through every single
Okay.
name. There's no formal requirement
Okay.
for how you do this.
Well, then, would it be easier for us to go through page by page?
That's what I was
I think
doing.
that makes
Discuss,
sense.
and then there's just a single vote of everything on the page?
Right. Yeah.
That's
Go page
the
by
first
page.
time we were.
Or category
good.
by category where one's
Yeah,
carrying
okay.
over was
Got it.
indicated.
Okay.
So are we done with the first page?
We
Out
are
out through the, yeah,
police officers, constables, keepers of the lockup.
Yep.
So my issue on the second page was the civilian auxiliary traffic personnel. I just wasn't sure what they were.
So we need to identify, people who can direct traffic,
Okay.
so they have to be named individually.
So it's a bunch of former police
These are former
officers.
police officers who are working
Yeah.
for us.
Okay. Any others on page two?
No, other than just noting that all of these are one-year terms except for the Affordable Housing Trust, where Newton Thompson, Eric Lavin, and Mike Marcucci are for two-year terms.
Page three?
I think you called out Michael LaFrancesca, so we can hold that, and then when the school committee selects a new finance person and director, we'll ask if that person is gonna be assigned to that.
Yeah, so we'll leave Mike LaFrancesca off.
And then it's
Anything else?
Give me 1 second. So just again to note that in the Board of Appeals, you've got William McNiff, that's a three-year term, and the other three members are one-year terms.
No, McNiff, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, everything's
No, no, no,
clearly
you're right, you're
noted on the
No, but I thought
spreadsheet.
Mark
No,
was saying we
it's
just
good to
wanted
call them out, yeah.
Okay. All right, so capital.
On page four, any issues?
I am not voting to support the reappointment of Deb Barrow.
Do you want to say why?
Nope. So do we, is it something we vote on now, or is that something we wait till the end?
Well, we can discuss that now. I was going to vote to reappoint Deb Barrow to the Conservation Commission.
And
You could put a hold on that
let's
topic
put a
and then
hold
come
on
back
it.
to it.
Yeah, let's put a hold on it.
Okay.
Next page.
Anything on the next page?
Oh, we're good on that one.
Should get a number of these pages.
Inspection of animals page?
Hold on, you're too far ahead of me here. Let me just make sure. The reason I'm doing this slowly is stuck in my mind, there was one other name that I picked up somewhere in here that I reacted to, and when I get to it, I'll remember which one it was, that's all. I think I know which one it is, actually. I think it's,
Memorial Day Committee?
no.
Oh.
So inspection of animals, that's good. Keep it clock, that's all fine. That's all fine. So if you're on the inspections of animals page,
I am.
okay. If we're all on that page at this point, I think those are all fine.
Okay. And the next page, Medfield Energy Committee starting.
I would point out that James Redden,
Yeah.
actually resigned.
That was the one.
Yep.
Yeah, that was.
I knew there was one I'd caught somewhere. He's not
That
there,
was a resignation.
so he's,
On the Memorial Day Committee, it's not Kara.
Yeah, as hard as I'm trying to get Kara to come back and visit us.
That's twice, oh my God, you guys keep
Be
them on
the
there.
king on the Memorial Day
Eve,
Committee.
The king.
She filled the king.
I even missed that.
Yeah, it was buried under that one. I missed that.
Whoops.
And we're also acknowledging that there's resignations on this as well as.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, that was, yeah, I missed that one. How did I miss that?
OPEB Trust Committee page.
Trust is.
Sealer of Weights and Measures page.
Are we good with the OPEG page?
Say again?
Are we good with the OPEG? I didn't hear Gus.
I am okay with that. If you have any issues,
Yeah,
raise it.
I'm okay. I'm
I
okay.
just didn't hear Gus, that's before we
Yeah.
get on the page.
I'm okay with it.
Sealer of Weights and Measures page.
All right, we got
One of the things that was added was,
Richard Disorder.
Chris McMahon was left off inadvertently of
on
State
the
Hospital
State Hospital
Development.
Development Committee, so I've added him back.
And the only, I don't think this is an issue, I just observed that, I think Pat Casey at some point could find himself conflicted with his role with Belforge. I don't think we've gotten that point, he's brought it up a couple times, but he's aware, he's sensitive to it, we're aware of it, and to my knowledge, Todd would be the one that would know, but to my knowledge, we have not crossed any lines there. So I think he's still fine being there.
I mean, I do want to call it the special advisor for the Medfield State Hospital overlook and laundry parcel.
Sitting in this room.
College who might actually be sitting in the room.
Yeah. And the other one that I did, but it's corrected here.
It's
is
corrected.
Richard Disorder's back as a town historian. I knew there was one that I was really kind of
We
important.
try to keep you on your toes and make sure you're reading what we send you.
Yeah. I knew there was one. That's the one I was worried about. Okay, it got corrected.
Okay, do we have a motion
I think,
to,
yeah, the only correction I have on the last page is that the wireless communication advisor, Willis Peligian, I think is an appointment. Doesn't he just got a, or did
You
we?
already
We
appointed
already
him.
appointed him, so we are
We figured
reappointing him.
we
Okay,
appoint him
okay,
already.
okay. That was a typo, I thought it was a typo, but it's not.
Yeah, we're
Okay.
making sure he's not leaving.
So-
okay, so I want a motion now to appoint everybody on this printout, or reappoint them in accordance with the terms stated on the printout, except for Deborah Barrow. Is there such a motion?
And, well, Mike
Well, with
Loff,
the-
we
with
put
the
holds on
correct-
Mike,
or Did you make some corrections?
Mike LaFrancesca
They-
is off, Jim Redden is off.
Be on there, yeah.
Carrico,
Basically, yeah, they're
Carrico and DeKing instead
and-
of Carrico on
correct,
Memorial
and
Day.
Carrico was switched to
So-
DeKing.
Yes, those are the ones,
So
yes.
vote them with the changes noted during the discussion.
Yep. Do we have a motion?
Redden,
With the exception of conservation. And then go back and vote conservation separately.
and LaFrancesca. So there are 4 names that are on hold, the rest are correct, actually, 3 names on hold, not included, and Carrico's changed to DeKing. So we have a motion. You're gonna move to approve everything else, right? Or do you want me to, I'll move.
So
So
I approve everything, including changes, but I don't approve Deb Barrow's.
Because, and she's on hold, so that's not part of this
Okay.
stage, okay? Redden is gone because he's gone, LaFrancesca's gone because he's gone, and Carrico got changed to DeKing. So the four discrepancies are those.
Okay.
Okay? So you move.
So motion, so moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, aye.
Okay.
All right, then we got the issue of Deborah Barrow on the Conservation Committee. And as I say, Gus, I'm gonna
Right.
support Deb's reappointment to the Conservation Committee.
And let me ask
I
a
think
question.
it's, you know, the town of Medfield runs on its volunteers. You both did this to Fred Davis on the Energy Committee. The Energy Committee wanted Fred Davis back, and you refused to appoint him,
Correct.
despite the fact that the Energy Committee wanted him, and he wanted to serve. Fortunately for the Energy Committee and the town of Medfield, Fred continues to come to the Energy Committee meetings, and he continues to provide very helpful information to the town of Medfield. I think that if you're not going to vote to reappoint somebody, you should explain why. You didn't explain to Fred. I think you should explain to Deb.
Well, I explained to Fred. I was very clear. All he had to do was listen to the conversation we had. If there was anybody who had any question about where I was coming from with that, and let's not drag that one up, because I think That's not a good
I'll
comparative.
simply say, I have met with Deb Barrow multiple times over the last 3 years. So this is something I've had one-off conversations with her. So this is something that I have no problem doing. I said, when I sat in this chair being interviewed by Scott McDermott, you can watch the interview. I said, there's things that are sometimes difficult in this role. People volunteer, but there are times when you may not have to, which goes back to when I did not vote to support Fred. There are times when I said I may not be able to put somebody back on a board. I think it's important that I know people volunteer, I appreciate that, but there are times when I think that changes need to be made and that I don't want people dreading going to a meeting. I think I'm just suggesting a change. That's what my no is.
So Pete, I haven't come out one way or the other, because it's an awkward thing to even consider doing. And you have every right to be defensive.
For the record, so everyone understands, this is his wife. It's not,
Right.
just so you have different last names. So anyone watching this, that Pete's voting for his wife, which that's fine.
Right.
But
Well,
it's
and
just-
I know.
But can I say
Go
what I
ahead.
want to say?
Yes, finish what you wanna
And
say.
I don't know if we'll navigate our way through this easily or not. I've seen Deb in action on the Conservation Commission when I've attended meetings, and she has the legal skill and the facilitation skills to do an excellent job of it. I've seen her do a wonderful job in Conservation Commission meetings. I haven't been to that many of them, but I've been to enough to see that. I think she's smart and she's good at that. I am aware of some things that she's done around trying to control what town employees can and can't do around Conservation Commission issues that are entirely inappropriate. They go well beyond anything that should happen. I have not been the one directly involved in them. I'm aware of them, that they've happened, and that's the issue, as I see it, to argue against a reappointment. I'm going to make a suggestion, because I don't want to vote against her reappointment, but I don't want to let something go unremarked that has been a problem for some time now. And I'm going to suggest that we reappoint her for 1 year, with the understanding enough has come out publicly here that I think I would be more than happy to talk to try to figure something out, or to help her understand if she doesn't. But I am aware of incidents that are not acceptable outside of the actual formal meetings of the Conservation Commission.
So
I would prefer not to throw out on her ear, because of the service that she's done, because of what I think underneath all is some basic competence, and I think some basic caring about the issues. But there probably has to be some clearer understanding of what is and isn't acceptable, and the things that have been problematic have to stop. So I'll propose a 1-year reappointment.
So just based on what you just said, okay, 100% different from yourself, because there was an incident at a select board meeting where something occurred between Deb and myself, and I very nicely reached out to her and asked to have a face-to-face. And I had asked for some things to change, because I do sit in those meetings, because I think it's extremely important that everyone's given a chance to be heard. And there's no one on the Conservation Committee that says, well, Eileen's only sat in 1 or 2 meetings. I sat in a lot of them, because I'm extremely concerned that it is very important for every person on a committee to be given the chance to speak their full opinion and to be respected, that they may not agree with everyone on the committee. I will say, what has bothered me is that that is not what plays out, that people get cut off in conversation, and it's not right. And that's why I know that from sitting in these meetings many Thursdays over the last 2 to 3 years, it's not a healthy environment. And to your point about employees that do not report to a commission, they report to full-time employees that report into Christine, there's a not healthy environment there. And I want to make sure that we keep all of our employees And I'm making this observation and this request because unfortunately I've seen it firsthand. And anyone on the Conservation Committee, if they're watching this, they know darn right well that I'm on there almost every Thursday because it's something that's near and dear about making sure that people are treated with respect, that our residents are treated with respect. And I think Deb's very nice. Like, I just saw her the other night walking the dog. This is not a knock, it's like to Fred Davis. It wasn't a personal knock to Fred Davis. Deb can come to every meeting thereafter. Fred's been coming, I love that, because he does bring a lot of wealth of knowledge. But we also have heard that 3-hour meetings dropped down to an hour, and that it was very structured, which again, for volunteers, it matters. You want to be able to go to a meeting and know that there's an efficient agenda and someone isn't going to derail it.
So the difference between where you're at, if I had seen firsthand what you're saying, you saw firsthand, I would not be as ambivalent as I am. I have not seen that firsthand. I am aware of it. I find it absolutely as unacceptable as you are with having seen it firsthand. Because I haven't seen it firsthand, I guess what I'm arguing for is if there's a way to have that stop, then I respect the things that she does bring to the table.
And what is it that you're looking to have stop?
Inappropriate direction to town employees attempting to control what they do and telling them that they can't communicate directly. The part I'm aware of, they can't communicate directly with people dealing with the town, that everything has to go through the chair of the Conservation Commission. That's not acceptable. That has to stop. If it can't stop, then we need somebody else. If it can stop, I'd like somebody who has a lot of skill and who I've seen show even skill in dealing with a group of people in a constructive way in some difficult situations. I'd rather, give that person a chance. And Pete, this makes it even worse because, it's right in your wheelhouse.
Well, I have a lot of knowledge about it, and I'm not aware of the issues that you're talking about. I mean, I'm aware of a lot of things, but maybe we should turn to Mr. Massaro, who looks like has indicated he wants to speak.
So I'm going to make a recommendation as special advisor for the Medfield State Hospital and everything else. There is no one on the committee right now who has the knowledge about what's happened up at the hospital, the issues that resolve around the auxiliary, the activity and use limitations and what have you. In fact, I just sent her a note this morning asking a question about the pipeline. I can't address any interdepartmental issues or anything else. I mean, I have seen a couple of instances where it appeared to be that people who were not on the Concom were making decisions or presenting advice to people from other departments or whatever, to people who are looking for information that would seem to me to step on the authority of conservation. I'm not standing up here anyway. I'm just saying that Deb, for 16 years now, she's about the only person outside of me and a few other people who have the vaguest idea of what's involved with keeping the hospital area safe up there. Stormwater management, all the rest of that stuff. It's critical to keeping the overlook. And so I would argue, personalities aside or anything else, is that she's valuable.
Yeah, she doesn't go away. That's the thing. Like, I'm thrilled to hear that Fred Davis is still involved with
Mr. Sorrell.
Yeah, I want to speak up just to the point of how her skill set and her ability to run a meeting. The Conservation Commission has a lot of authority. They have the ability to expose the town to liability. She and I have not always agreed upon particular projects, but she at least has consulted with me on a regular basis, taken my input at meetings. There's been turnover on the Concom. There's a variety of skill sets there, and it's very difficult to come to consensus in a way that, if not a win-win, at least protects the town. And she has, at least in that context, operated effectively, and to be perfectly honest, I'm not sure there's anybody else right now that could do that.
So the part of it that I'm aware of is that the employee assistance has not been as robust as it could have been for the Concom. The Concom board is legally structured and has rules that it has to abide by, so that when an application hits the Concom, there's a 21-day period that begins to run by which the Conservation Commission has to take action. And I know that Deb has told me that she's had to explain to people in this building that because of that 21-day period, they cannot automatically take applications without alerting the Conservation Commission members that they're, but all of the issues that I have heard about have been surrounding how to make the Conservation Commission operate efficiently on the best interest of the town. I'm very surprised by you saying that she wouldn't let people speak at meetings. I mean, I know that if
She
No, I
did
didn't
last
say
week.
that. I didn't say that.
Oh, I thought that's what
said
you were
no.
about.
I thought my understanding is she's given some pretty clear guidance around who can't speak to people with business with the Conservation Commission, that everything has to go through her. Now, you're making an argument that, well, it's because of timing. That may be, but if that's the case, we have good people in this town that work here, and the goal isn't to just give them dictatorial constraints. It's to sit down and explain to them what the issue is. And if they're not the best employees they need to be, turn them into better employees. But don't sit there and put constraints down that are seen more as sort of autocratic constraints. Pete, I haven't seen this directly. This is what I have understood that's been going on that to me is problematic.
I'm going to give you a perfect example of, you're in the chair that I was in 3 years ago, because I, as a new select board member, had people share stories with me. And I'm like, I'm not going to not reappoint someone if so we sat in a select board meeting, Deb Barrow stood up there, we were having a dialogue, she cut me off, she proceeded to tell me, you should listen, and I was like, okay, wait a minute, the one thing I do in this chair is listen. So I did have a one-on-one with her, and we had a very nice conversation. But I actually, in that meeting, I can say it because I said it to her, I told her, if you don't change, I'm not reappointing you next time. That's why I know this isn't a surprise. If she's sitting at home, I've said it multiple times in the last, because she can't be dismissive to town employees. They don't report to her. They report to the planning office, who report to Christine. I have a fundamental problem when people overstep their boundaries when we're appointing them, right?
To what town employee has she been dismissive?
I'm not going to throw names out here right now. She certainly knows for sure. And I can tell you that I'm saying no because I've sat enough, and I don't like when people dread going to a meeting because it's going to potentially be adversarial when it doesn't need to be. And again, to your point, Pete, these people volunteer, and some of these people have long days, and they come in, and then I just sat in a meeting 2 weeks ago where one of the members started to talk, the chair cut him off, he started to say things again, and she had the audacity to correct him that he should not interrupt her, and I'm sitting at home thinking, wait a minute, he was talking, you interrupted him, excuse me, he tried to get his point across, and you jumped on him and said it was wrong to do. That you can't, my opinion, you can't have that happening.
So I think the picture situation's on the table. I don't think we need to go in more depth.
I didn't even want to go into this.
we're
Like,
not
I'm sorry
dealing
this
with
went this
stuff.
way.
I can see two resolutions. One is the one I suggested, which is a reappointment for 1 year. And if things are still problematic, then we'll obviously be paying more attention. Another one is reappointment with the understanding that she's not the chair, that there's another member of
There's
the
no
Energy
one else
Committee.
willing to be the chair on the committee.
Okay, so that's not a feasible one.
And I will.
Eileen asked Deb to do that, and Deb told Eileen, there's no one that's willing to be the chair.
That's not even the
Well.
meeting I had, because I had multiple meetings, Pete, right?
Well,
And
I know you have.
So-
I know, and I'm concerned because it's so controlling that people don't want to do it because they know that they're going to be nitpicked. And that, again, that goes back to my core of when I ran for the seat, is like, people volunteer their time, they don't want to have to be on edge. You should go to a meeting and it's collaborative.
So that leaves us with the one option of a 1-year reappointment, which I won't even force you, and you're working from more specifics than I am. I would be prepared to support that, and I wouldn't fault you for having it be a 2-to-1. And with the idea that we'll wind up having a conversation or a review in a year to see whether that was a good idea or not.
So there's a comment that you should read from a citizen, Pete, as chair.
I don't think he should, I don't think.
Well, I mean, but people are asking
The
the
question
question.
is, do you have to recuse yourself?
We're talking
I
about
think
someone's
Mark would,
spouse.
I think Mark would have told you that you needed to if that was the case, and given the circumstances, I certainly
These are
wouldn't.
not compensated positions.
Right.
These are,
Right,
and,
So-
I mean, there's umpteenth examples of you folks voting for yourselves for positions
right.
and other people in town. It's not a compensated position.
So Gus, did you want to make a motion then?
So, I'll move that we reappoint Deb Barrow for 1 year.
I'll second that.
And-
All in favor? Aye, aye.
You just have to vote for Perloff to reappoint him.
We did before with the
I
overall.
thought you held conservation,
Oh, we did a whole conservation. I thought
just
we
to,
held one.
just to be sure. So
Oh,
there's-
you think we held the whole,
it's not clear, and just to make
So
sure
I
that
move the motion to reappoint Michael Perloff.
second?
All in
three-year
favor?
term.
Aye, aye.
Right, okay, so Deb is 1 year. And Michael was approved, okay. All right. And the others were just people who aren't here, or names that changed, and corrected that. All right.
Okay, action items. Number 8, appropriation transfers. A, 17,000 transfer from highway materials to highway salaries. B, can we do these all at once, Chris?
Yes.
Yeah, and can I, before you go,
You want
B,
narrative?
B has changed from 7,000 to 1,000.
All right, I like that.
So, just before you read that whole thing, go ahead.
B, 1,000 transfer from highway materials to solid waste disposal salaries. C, 55,000 transfer from highway stormwater management to solid waste disposal grounds and building maintenance. D, $42,364.58 transfer from fire operations to fire salary. E, $3,454.12 transfer from emergency management to fire salary. F, 37-cent.
This is my favorite one.
Yeah.
And you know it came from the town accountant.
Yes.
We're gonna spend more than
37%
37
transfer
cents to
from
do
town
this.
accountant operations to
That's
other
just
equipment
Over.
to regional vocational school. G is 17,000 transfer from Board of Health salaries to Board of Health operations contracted services. H, 48,000 transfer from Park and Rec salaries to Park and Rec operating. I is $6,500 transfer from town administrator salaries to town administrator professional development. J, $50,000 transfer from HR salaries to town council consulting and legal fees. K is $15,000 transfer from police salary to police equipment contracts. Do we have a, those transfers?
We do, so moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And they will now go to the warrant committee for their approval at their final meeting.
Town cost to process that 37-cent transfer is probably about $50.
Oh, at least.
Number 9 is a vote to opt out of recreational cannabis delivery in Medfield.
Yes, so the marijuana, cannabis laws changed, and we received notice that because we do not allow recreational cannabis to be sold in town, we have the option to seek a waiver to not allow delivery as well. It's a 2-year waiver. And the select board, even though town meeting authorized back in 2017, authorized no recreational marijuana, it is up to the select board to file the 2-year waiver.
If I can make an editorial comment, I trust you've read both the law and the summary. What I put at the top of my summary is, this is BS. This is complete, utter BS. This is a Cannabis Control Commission that absolutely intends to extend delivery to everywhere. And basically it's saying, well, you can apply and you can request a waiver, and you may get a waiver for up to 2 years. And it's up to you to make sure you maintain your waiver, because if it falls through the crack, well, then the default is all communities are allowed to do this. This is a blatant, as far as I can tell, blatant attempt to sit there and liberalize at the same time that we've got programs that are trying to get kids to stay away from abusive drugs and alcohol. We have a state that's sitting there trying to, or at least actors in this state that are trying to promote an industry which is exactly that. And this thing is set up to not hold together very well. The fourth bullet on the first page, the waiver is valid for up to 2 years and may be extended in 2-year increments at the commission's discretion. Based on what? Based on what? This is window dressing to get this thing in place and then over time gradually spread it across the state, across all communities. We're going to vote to opt out of it because that's the option we've been given, but I am just furious with the kind of crap legislation that would set something like this up, with the kind of words that's used here. The whole legislature and this commission, they all ought to be ashamed of themselves.
So can we put on a calendar that we just know in like 18 months, we know it's just a red flag, we
Well,
do it?
if they give us the full 2 years.
Well, I have to
it's up
believe almost like the MBTA community thing, that people are gonna push back. If they-
I'm just disgusted.
Yeah.
Right. You're trying to keep, I mean, we did what we did here deliberately with one of the towns that has more 18 and younger people in it. And yeah, they can go all over the place. This is, now they can call, well, now if they're 21, they can call for it.
I know, and I would continue, but I know we have a really long way to.
I know, we do. Yep.
If you can authorize me to file it, it has to be done electronically, and I will do that first thing in the morning, but that'll keep.
Got some
Oh, I'm sorry.
qualified speakers out there.
Thank you. Kathy Thompson, Vice Chair, Board of Health. Just at our last meeting, we did vote in support of the measure, too. And I appreciate your comments, Gus. I totally agree with them, but thank you for approving this.
Thanks, Kathy. I'm sure you were more genteel in your meeting than I have been tonight. Okay.
So you just need to vote to
Vote
authorize
yep,
me
vote
to
to-
file
Do
the
we have a
waiver.
motion?
We so moved?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Number 10, vote to waive the application fee for the scenic road tree hearing.
Those are on.
Yeah, there were several tree hearings that have been done recently, where the town is, again, paying itself the
We're the applicant.
the $10 application fee for, the tree hearing, so we're just voting to waive the application fee so that the town isn't paying itself.
So it's,
Well, how
It's just for the town.
many $10 fees from ones that aren't the town, or will we not get?
This is just
Just
our
the
own-
town's.
These are our own.
Just waiving the town.
We're just waiving.
Oh,
our-
just
Yeah, yeah,
waiving.
just waiving the town.
Town's
Make it
applicable,
clear
that's an
that it
important word to
doesn't-
have
Sorry,
here.
that wasn't
Yeah, yeah,
very
yeah,
clear.
sorry.
Yes.
So it's
It
a
is
vote to
just
waive the
the
town.
town's application fees for scenic road.
Because
hearings.
if you want to know the effort it
So
takes
the
to transfer the
application fee
37
for the
cents, you should
town.
see how it is to pay
For-
Oh,
myself.
well, I'm
town's
fine with that.
Yes,
application.
Okay.
they're all the
the
town
towns.
applications
Okay.
that we're
That word was
requesting.
missing.
Sorry, that word is missing. Just the town application, that we're voting.
the
to.
Now I'm ready
application
to vote.
fees for the town.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Do we have a motion? Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Yep.
Number 11, vote to sign the contract with Catalyst Tax and Comma, Inc., software upgrade to Assess Pro AP5 cloud hosting options for real estate and personal property for $14,953.58. Do we have a motion?
I was good with this, except I didn't know who was signing it. I think when I looked at the, document,
This one is,
I
is this
think it's
one
only a
here?
single signature, so the
Yeah, if you want to authorize me, I can sign this one.
okay, so vote to authorize the town administrator.
Yeah, I can sign this.
All right, so moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Number 12, vote to sign the letter of support for Trinity Acquisitions proposed adaptive reuse of the Medfield State Hospital using the state and federal historic tax credits.
And the only thing on that one is the document has me as the chair, so
Yeah,
Pete's the
we
one who
ch-
should sign.
We did,
Oh,
we
you
did catch
corrected it.
that and
Okay.
change that, yeah.
Okay.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor? Aye, aye. 13, vote to sign the affiliation agreement between the town of Medfield and Boston College to host an intern to provide clinical and educational experience with the Medfield Outreach Department for 9 months. Motion, please?
Another question, who signs this agreement? Is, I think, another single I can't remember.
I would
if it was
authorize the chair to sign this.
The chair?
Yeah.
Okay,
Do we have a motion, please?
So moved.
second.
All those in favor? Aye, aye. Number
Aye.
14, vote to accept the grant of utility easement for Garrison Path and authorize the select board to sign all related documents.
I have a
Motion?
question, I have a question on this one.
Okay.
Why are we looking for this? I just need to understand why the town is looking for an easement to be able to do town work on private property.
Because we've got a main, we have a water main
Water
that we
main on there.
wanted in the road. It's not just to service that house. There's a main in the street that could potentially be used.
Yeah, we need to access
We need
it.
access to it.
So a main, no, this is Garrison Path. Where's this main going and where's it coming from?
To the backland, I think that you, at one point were
So,
thinking.
okay, no, that's fine. So if we were to use that for Dover Amendment purposes, and we put a house up there or something like that, this is the main that would service that house.
Yes, this is
It's
our
a, it's a
water
public,
main.
it's intended to be a town public water main, yes.
Okay,
For,
Got it.
for
Okay.
whatever purposes.
okay, I got it.
So that's something we require,
Yeah, that's
request.
fine. I just wanted to be sure I understood the
Yeah.
dynamics around an easement, given that we
Yeah,
were
it
told we were
in- it
gonna get an
includes-
easement there
It includes the
before.
water main, the service lines, any hydrants, valves, pipes, conduits, manholes, or related structures.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
All right, so
Good.
moved.
second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Number 15, vote to sign memorandum of understanding between the town of Medfield, the Medfield Affordable Housing Trust, and Brook Run Development Corp. regarding the 441 Main Street Affordable Housing Project.
So I have questions on this one as well.
So let me give you a little context for this one first.
Okay.
You actually already agreed to this.
I thought, well, that's
You did,
partly.
yep, so I figured, you already agreed to this, there were some minor edits that you wanted made, we sent it back, and it never made its way back to the select board.
We just readdressed it in
And
the
so,
Affordable Housing Trust
so
meeting.
when we realized that it had never made it back to the select board, we sent it off for, I think it was Mark and Ted Cannon reviewed, and then sent it back to the Affordable Housing Trust for their final review, and now it's coming back for yours.
Okay, so let me just comment on a couple
Yep.
things, and Eileen, you're gonna be able to probably fill in as much as anybody here. So the first question is, why are we doing this? But I thought we had already, my first question, is 441 Main Street one of the 10% projects that we've approved to get to our 10% number?
We
So
approved
this
it like
is-
2 summers ago.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
that's what's
It's from a couple
throwing me
years
off.
ago.
It's like, didn't we
Yep.
already approve this?
Yeah.
We're not at 10%.
No, but at
It'll
least the
count
latest thing that
towards,
came
yeah.
out said that if we do the Pound Street and we do the Plain Street, we are at 10%.
Yeah.
So I wanted to know whether this 8 units was
Yeah,
what
this- we
was
put
part
this
of
on,
that
like-
10%.
Yeah.
Bottom
Because
li-
they're actually doing work there right now, right?
No, it's under
Bottom-
construction
Yeah,
now.
so-
They've done the entire
That's-
outside,
Yeah, so
replaced the
you
windows.
see what I'm getting at?
That's
is
how
why-
it came,
why are we-
it came back to us because, I don't remember if it was
It's like a
Maria or Ted
housekeeping.
Cannon was looking to, file everything and then realized that
Got it.
this had never come back
So this is
to
an
us.
administrative
Bingo.
correction?
Yes.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
So
You've already
this,
approved
this,
it.
Got it.
this sets forth the terms and conditions under which the money, a portion of the money that the town authorized by borrowing will go to them and under what circumstances. The
Right,
amount,
right.
What
No, I-
circumstances,
Right.
and it also, when it was here in the first place, I hadn't reviewed it.
Yep.
And it didn't, have the Affordable Housing Trust, who had control of the money, as a party to the agreement, so we
Right, that was the
revised-
edit.
What I'm
sent it
getting at
back,
is,
but-
we've already gone through the whole drill
We've
of
already
whether this is a
done
good
this,
thing to
yeah.
do or not. This is just an administrative correction.
But
so-
just to be
yeah.
clear, the money has not been borrowed yet, so.
Right, because they have to
Yeah.
complete the project, and
Yeah.
once it's all done.
Right,
yes.
okay, good.
So
So-
moved.
Second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye,
okay.
aye. Number 16, vote to sign contract with Beta for the 27 West roadway redesign for $629,247.
Yes, so this is, when we presented the contract from the state several meetings ago, we were waiting for the notice to proceed. We've received that from the state, and we can now do the final contract with Beta, which we've been waiting and talking about since last August. So once you sign this, we will give them the go-ahead to restart the design process.
So moved.
Second,
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Consent agenda, which is one item, vote to approve the request from the Medfield Community Market to post signs for the duration of the market season from now until October 25th at the transfer station and North End, Maine.
So moved.
second,
All those in favor? Aye, aye. gifts, citizens' comment, meeting minutes. Do we have the meeting minutes ready to be voted?
I have,
Mine in.
I have a couple things. First, the June 2nd, I'm okay with them, but I made some significant edits on the Google Doc.
Okay.
So if you saw them and you're okay with
I
them, then
haven't,
that's
so
great.
we'll look at those, hold
Okay,
the.
so you're going
hold
to defer
those
that
down.
one, okay. October 31st, so this is the one, I actually brought a copy of this thing as it reads right now. In fact, if you want it, Pete, I printed the thing out. You can take that, you can have that. You can review that, and then we can vote on that later. As this thing read, the upper corner said date, and time was Friday, October 31st, 2025, but then it said the meeting of April 7th,
It's already been
2026.
corrected.
It's already been corrected,
Yeah,
okay.
it's already been corrected.
See, I was only one day ahead of on this thing, and then I was sitting there because it said, because I didn't even know for sure which meeting we were really talking about, it said
No,
I was
I
absent.
pinged Cameron right
It's like,
away.
I wasn't absent on October 31st, I don't think. It was a Zoom, because I was.
No, there was a Zoom that you weren't on, because then I asked Cameron for the
So-
link, and you had
wasn't
somebody
on it.
delivered something to your house, so it was just Pete and myself.
Yeah, okay, so as long as, I couldn't remember why I would have missed a Zoom meeting when I knew that I was around to pass out candy on Halloween, was what it really was. Okay, I get it, so I'm good with October 31st, and I'm good with November 4th.
I wasn't there either.
Do we have a motion then to accept the minutes of October 31 and November 4?
Motion, yes, move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Town administrator updates.
Let's see, what do we have? I was gonna talk to you about the 8 people at the Medfield State Hospital, but Abby and I discussed that during the Trinity update. I just wanna thank everybody for the incredible voter turnout, at the election. That was fantastic. And I really did start seeing people at 6 a.m. for office hours, right through to 8 o'clock, so it was really great to catch up with people. I had an opportunity after our delineator project to spend a few hours with Heidi Johnson looking at handicap accessible spaces in the downtown. And we just filed a grant to add a handicap accessible spot in the front of the townhouse. So we're working on that, and we have a grant application filed for that. But it was a rainy, I don't know, I think it was a Friday morning, but it was a rainy morning. We spent probably 2.5 hours walking around looking at all the spaces in town, and it was just a fantastic opportunity to spend that time with her. We have confirmed your goals workshop will be 8:30 to 12:30 on the 23rd, Tuesday,
At the public safety.
at Public Safety.
Training room on the
You
second
marked that
floor.
down. Yeah, I did.
Breakfast.
Does that still work for everyone?
July 23?
No,
June,
June.
June.
next week. Well, does that still work, or do you want us to find another date?
Well, what, if you scheduled it with me before, it's fine.
Okay. I seem to be hesitant from,
No,
What?
no?
I'm gonna miss
Okay.
my good workout class, but yes, at 8:30 I'll be there.
we'll give you extra food.
Yeah, we're providing breakfast sandwiches, so, okay.
What are the times?
We're gonna go 8:30 to 12:30, and then we have a 1 o'clock community choice aggregation, so we'll have a hard stop,
At
Yeah.
one.
and then we'll just do the meeting all together.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. And then, Brittany has an update on our solicitors.
Yes, we've had a couple calls in and a couple emails about some solicitors in town that don't have, or are going to doors that are on the no-knock list.
Right.
So, they are the solicitors that have been approved, but they are just not following the no-knock list. So I think we have, today, actually, while we were out on a walk, Christine and I ran into one. So I think we've now fixed the problem. So just if anyone is watching that is concerned that they've had a couple solicitors that, and they're on the no-knock list, I think that that problem should be fixed now. They were approved, they just weren't adhering to the no-knock list, and they
They were
weren't
not wearing
carrying
their
around their
badges.
license. And so we have had Sergeant Hain reach back out to them, and I think we have fixed the problem. So hopefully we will be good going
So
forward.
on Facebook, some of I caught, nobody had names of the companies, but I knew it sounded like there were 2, and one of them, because of its unique business that we have never approved before, that I asked considerable questions on, was, it sounded like the company, not only do they do that based on comments, but that when they try to market and people say we're not interested, they don't go quietly into the night, so.
We discovered that today.
Okay, so for speaking at least as an individual here, I'll leave it that you have satisfied, you've corrected the problem with these two companies, but if it's a problem again with these two companies, I want their name, because I've got a name of one company that'll never get my vote for approval to do business in here. I'll add one or two more, rather than, if people violate, you've given them one more chance than I probably would have given them.
We're keeping lists of the
Okay.
companies that have violated our
Yeah.
rules.
Okay.
He was probably really wishing he didn't run into us on our
Well.
post-lunch walk.
He
Well.
didn't realize he was speaking to people from the town.
Okay, well, that's something that I think we want to be on the lookout for.
Yeah.
We're pretty liberal about making sure people, not everybody likes door-to-door solicitors, but they have to make learn a living too. But if you're not going to play by the rules, we don't have to let you in.
So I think the important message here, though, is one person shouldn't ruin it for the hall, so that it's reaching out to whoever presented it to us.
Yep.
So I saw a gentleman came to my house
Yep.
literally as I was closing my front door.
Yep.
And he was polite, so I can't
Yeah.
knock it. But if he wasn't polite, that one person should be removed immediately, right? Not
Oh,
penalize the whole company, because if you
No,
got
I-
11 people out that doing the town, and 10 out of 11 are following the rules and not knocking on the doors, why are you telling the whole company when you just
Because it's the job of whoever it is that came in to represent that company and all the people that they have there, it's that person's job to make sure that doesn't happen.
All right, and as I'm saying right now, is if one person, if all the other 10 are doing their job, it's a lot easier to just remove the one.
I don't want to get it.
Okay.
We made the rules. I mean, right now, there's somebody who wasn't doing his job, and we're giving him a second chance. So I'm not against second chances categorically, but I don't want to have the responsibility that we got to catch somebody twice.
No, I'm
so,
just pushing back.
yeah.
I wouldn't
I-
penalize the company right away without, you
I
can
would-
remove a bad apple and still have a good company there.
I
so.
prefer that the person in charge of each of those companies understands, if anybody you send here makes one mistake, you can expect, I mean, we're not pulling their permits, but when you come back again, if we've had complaints and your company's been named, we don't have any obligation to let you.
We need to be
do that.
tracking both the company names and the employee names who are violators.
Yes.
Yeah.
Most of the
We're
time,
doing that.
people that complain, at least on Facebook, they never get the name because the person doesn't have the badge and they just want them to go away, but.
Yes,
I
and
agree
we're
with you, Pete. It would be-
encouraging
yeah.
people, which I think they've been emailing and calling us, which is great.
Right.
But at that moment, they should call police dispatch,
Mm-hmm.
because what police dispatch will do is they'll send someone out
Right.
and let them, educate these folks. So
Right.
can't catch them,
Right.
the next day. So it would be helpful if people call police dispatch, and we can address that
Yeah,
right
because
away.
Facebook to me is not a way where like,
No.
because it's typed, it's true. It's like, no, call the police, let the police see your face.
Yeah,
one-on-one.
that's
Yeah,
way more
I don't
helpful.
think people are making up the complaints on that, so I'm not saying that Facebook is the way we should find these things out. I'm saying that I've seen people on Facebook make the comments,
Yeah.
and it's unacceptable, and I don't think we have to give people a whole lot of chances, because chances are we're only finding 10% of the violators anyway. Okay.
Fair.
Anything else, Christine?
That's all I had for town administrator updates, sorry.
Gus?
Okay, select board member reports. Since our last meeting, it's been all MBTA Advisory Committee and Norfolk County Advisory Board, all Zoom calls. So we had on the Norfolk County Advisory Board, we had an unanticipated Zoom call in response to a communication that came out from the Register of Deeds, basically providing a summary interpretation of everything that's been going on with the disputes that the Register's been having with the commissioners, and even going so far as suggesting that the whole county should be shut down. And so basically, he was using both official and non-official communications channels to voice his opinion, and that prompted a response. Which is it's prompted a discussion at least, and there'll probably be a letter that'll at least go out to the appointing authorities from the advisory board and the county commissioners as a response. It doesn't look like at this stage the county commissioners will issue a formal public rebuttal to this newsletter that went out to everybody that's on the Register's distribution list, but that's how things look like right now. On the MBTA Advisory Board, there was an initial report. They're going through the budget cycle. There's several steps in the budget cycle. We reviewed the budget. We then refer it to a committee that then does sort of an analysis of the budget and provides that report back to us. If we like it, we then approve it, and it goes to the MBTA Board of Directors. And then that was the first Zoom call, and then a couple days ago, there was a second Zoom call to actually formally approve and endorse and forward the budget to the Board of Directors. So the MBTA's budget, they're going to be okay for this coming fiscal year. Nobody's really solved the structural problem. The governor and the legislature keep coming in with different kind of ad hoc solutions. And they'll probably need to continue to do that for a couple of years until there's some lessening of the pressure down the road. But anyway, that was it. And the election. And it was nice to see the turnout on the election and the result.
Just gonna same comment. Yeah, I was thrilled to see the election turnout and the results. Obviously, I'm thrilled about it. Good for the school, good for the town. I've got school building committee tomorrow night. First time we'll regroup since I think the beginning of May. I was sorry to hear that Michael LaFrancesca is moving on. Right, great man. He's been so helpful with what's going on with the school building committee right now. And I love him. Jeff's right-hand man, so I wish him the best of luck in his new role, but certainly someone and the school is out this Thursday, so the town should get quiet for the next few weeks, get our summer quietness. And on a positive note here, Mr. Bennett successfully graduated from puppy class last Wednesday. That's why I can finally go to school
Did he
building
have a
committee
little
meetings.
hat in the?
Yeah, the diploma on it.
That's very cute.
That's my story.
So I took a walk today and noticed that the town has a black swallowwort invasives problem. So I commend everybody to be pulling out the invasive black swallowwort now. The seeds are starting to set. Huge spread of it in the Verizon building on Pleasant Street. The Bank of America building has it in its bushes out in front, unfortunately. I held office hours.
Put it on the tipping floor. Don't just mulch it.
Yeah, you can't just mulch it because it'll come back. And I held office hours and talked to Lanny Starr about the senior tax relief that we're putting into play. The Medfield Foundation had its annual meeting. The Energy Committee had a meeting, and Susan McPhee talked to us about the rooftop unit that is needed for the Medfield High School auditorium to replace a failing one. And she talked about the fact that I guess the Massachusetts School Building Association has a repair program now, and she thinks that school roofs are involved in that, and that might be a good time for the town to apply for both roofs and solar on the school roofs. Susan McPhee said that the Belfour's Arts Center had come up on some sort of state website, and we're getting very bad energy issues because of having a bunch of empty unheated buildings. So I guess the state needs to be informed that they're empty, unheated buildings. Belforge is going to be big enough that it needs to come on, and I gave her Jean Minio's email to connect. Susan said that the Medfield Police Department could help us a lot by going to EV vehicles. Andrew Jarrell reported that the school building committee entertained their new person from Jeff D'Amico from Vertex had a walkthrough at the Dell Street School with potential vendors. I guess ground source heat pumps is a very real possibility at the Dale Street site. Andrew seemed to think that there'd already been some wells that are drilled there, which is you need to drill wells to see if they're suitable for ground source heat pumps. And apparently it was encouraging for ground source heat pumps at the Dale Street site. He said that the school building committee reported, I think, that the Medfield School Building Authority is open to multiple town departments using the new school, which sounded like it is open to the Park and Rec being included in it. In terms of the specialized energy code that the Energy Committee wants the town to adopt, and had a warrant article that it pulled because it didn't receive support from the warrant committee and the Permanent Planning and Building Committee.
I think it got
Well,
pulled,
that's 'cause
I
it's
don't think it
already
got to us, it was pulled. I don't think we actually voted one way or the other.
But they're gonna make that decision on after the Dale Street School decides what sort of project they're gonna do. They've got to decide whether they're gonna do a reno or a demo yet, and they have to decide whether they're gonna do an all-electric school. There was an upgrade submitted by Bob Winograd on the Medfield Community Electric. Medfield Day plans were made. Fred Davis alerted us to the issues with the legislature in terms of the climate action bill not supporting the Mass Save funding. That apparently the House pulled it. There was a submission today that I thought from Jeremy Marset about the intersections that are related to the hospital project, and I thought Jeremy's insights were actually very helpful. He's a former town engineer, so he's very well versed to make the input that he did. I was very appreciative of his input. And we had a submission by a group of residents asking us to fly a pride flag in Medfield, and it struck me that that was a good idea. So I thought that we should entertain doing that at our...
Just to be very clear, that is a direct violation of the flag policy that we have in place, and that has served this town very well. So.
Well, we should do
it's not
something.
open for, if you get the same communication I did, this group said, well, we want to come up with some ideas, plans, and budgets to do something, and I think I would, the idea of staying away from basically a really corrupt symbol and focusing on actions, I think I would certainly be open to ideas for concrete actions that really accomplish something as opposed to a polarizing symbol, which does not reflect broad consensus. In fact, I don't even really know exactly what it does reflect. The reason we have a flag policy is to stay away from that very kind of thing.
Well, but I think it's a policy that we should look at supporting. And it sounds like it's something that we're going to do next year, not this year then. And that's it for me. Anything further to come before this meeting?
There is one more question in the Q&A.
Yeah, do you want to read it?
Sure, it's from Jeff Hyman, 1 Minute Comment Street. Oh, actually, he wants to speak live, if that is okay for the chair. Is that okay if he speaks live?
Oh, yeah, of
Okay.
course.
Hold on, let me just. All right, Jeff, you should be able to speak.
Howdy, everybody. Hi.
Hey, Jeff.
Okay. Hey, everybody. It's Jeff Hyman on the street. How you doing? I just have a question about, before you go to executive session, item 1. Obviously, we're not privy to your discussions in your executive session, but can you tell the public what the real property is you're talking about?
Not at this point. It would impact the town's negotiations.
Okay. Thank you.
Anything else, Jeff? I guess not. Okay, the select board needs to meet in executive session to discuss strategy with respect to litigation. I declare that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the litigating position of the select board. The select board needs to meet in executive session to consider the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property. I declare that an open meeting would have a detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the select board. The open session will not reconvene.
I move that the select board meet in executive session and discuss strategy with respect to litigation. The chair has declared that an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on the litigation position of the select board. I move the select board meet in executive session to consider the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property. The chair has declared that an open meeting would have a detrimental effect on the negotiating position of the select board. The open session will not reconvene.
Second.
Roll call.
Murphy.
Aye.
Murby.
Aye.
Peterson, aye.
Now, do we close the current session or no?
That's it.
No,
It's
we don't need to.
automatic.
You don't need to.
Okay. Kill the Zoom.
All right.